It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard. League football is back in Scotland with all teams in action across this weekend. The Premiership kicked off last night with Derek McInnes only managing a draw in his first Rangers match against Dundee United. There are two Premiership games today, two more tomorrow before it's flag night at Celtic Park on Monday. The Saturday shows are back. I'm Andrew Maclean. Joining me in the studio are Gordon Dalziel, Cammy and Roger Hanna.
We are back, and this is the first weekend of the SPFL season. The one weekend of the year, Andrew, where hope, optimism and belief trump anxiety and tension in this show. Every supporter going to the games today will believe this can be the season that their team wins a league, gets into Europe, gets into the top six, gets promoted. It's not the year where they're going to sack the manager and be relegated. All the pundits are excited. Cammy Bell, everybody else looks out for the results of all his old teams. He's got 27 different score games round here. Daz is back from his break. He looks like David Dickinson in the real deal. This is August the 1st. This is Super Scoreboard. Let's go!
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think everybody's excited for a new season. If it's half as good as last year, we're in for a treat, Andrew. Obviously it was up and running last night at Tannadice. Just wonder what the Rangers fans will think of that. Thought Dundee United played very well in stages. We've got some good games today, and you look all the way down the leagues: Championship, League 1, League 2. Absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to this afternoon.
This Saturday show is built around the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Cammy Bell. Now, the TV schedulers haven't really done us a favour because there is only one Premiership game at 3 o'clock this Saturday, but across the weekend there are so many big matches. It all started last night, as Gordon was saying. Rangers only managing a draw against Dundee United, but two big Premiership games today, two tomorrow, Flag Day on Monday night, Celtic against Dundee. Loads of games down the divisions, loads to look forward to and enjoy.
Absolutely, Andrew. Yes, it started last night, but it starts today. All the teams up and down the leagues will be really looking forward to this afternoon. You've got the game at Falkirk Stadium today at 3 o'clock, the only one, and then you've got the Aberdeen Hearts game later on today. So yeah, some really big games to look forward to. And as Daz said, it'll be interesting to see what all the Rangers fans made of last night. And
I should say that, not that I'm not happy to see you, Roger, it's great to have you in the studio, but I want to give a shout out to our old pal Hugh Keevans. He's been a bit poorly over the last couple of weeks, but he's on the mend and he'll be back in no time, I'm sure.
I was in contact with the old soldier yesterday. His last 3-4 words to me were, I shall be back.
Oh yes, so get well soon, Hugh Keevans. We will be hearing from you very shortly, I have absolutely no doubt. But the football stops for no man. What a weekend we are in for. Of course, as I mentioned, Dundee United won, Rangers won, the big one last night. We'll look into that in a bit more depth. Derek McInnes' first match in charge. Rangers not able to win on the first day of the season for the fourth campaign running, so we'll get your thoughts on that a bit later on, Rangers fans. But lots of action to concentrate on for the next few hours. Of course, we'll hear from you from 5 o'clock onwards. I'll give you the shout when it's time for the open line, but for now you can sit back, relax and enjoy all the preview, all the action, all the reaction to what is happening across this weekend. There is, as I said, only one Premiership game at 3 o'clock today. There is one later game, but the one at 3 o'clock is Falkirk against St Mirren. Let's start going around the grounds. Let's speak to David Friel, who's watching on at that one at the Falkirk Stadium.
Andrew, a new season and two new look teams for Falkirk and St Mirren. I was doing my calculations this morning. I made it out that they'd made 20 signings between them, and since then St Mirren have actually made it 21 with the arrival of Luke Thomas from Bristol Rovers. So much change. Thomas is an attacking midfielder. He's on the bench after clearance came through in time, but Craig McLeish has actually named 7 new signings in his lineup. Believe it or not though, Falkirk have done a lot more work in the market, and it's no wonder when you see a list of players who have departed over the summer. I won't go through them all, but Calvin Miller, Dylan Tate, Barney Stewart, Philip Lisa, Ben Brojo, they were all regulars, they were all standouts last season. They have all gone. They've lost Brian Graham and others as well. But there is a boost today with Scott Bain back from injury. As I said, those guys I spoke about there, they played a lot of games last season. Stewart and Miller were the standouts up front, the top goal scorers. So John McGlynn has got a big rebuild on his hands. He is encouraged by the arrival of the likes of Joe Gardner, Ethan Laidlaw. They've come from Nottingham Forest and Brentford down south, and he's got such a good reputation for bringing guys up from England and developing them, but it does feel like maybe too big a rebuild for Falkirk. Can they follow up last season's top 6 finish? I'm not so sure they can. They just don't have the same continuity this term, and of course they've already been knocked out of the Premier Sports Cup. John McGlynn, a top manager, no wonder he's been linked with Scotland, but I think even he knows this might take a bit of time to gel. As for St Mirren, they've obviously got a new permanent manager in Craig McLeish. He's lost the likes of Mark O'Hara, Miguel Freckleton, Michael Mandron and Shamal George. However, he's quite happy with the business they've done so far. Obviously brought in Gavin Miller from Motherwell as the recruitment chief. They've signed guys like Samuel Ramos, Ryan Kerr. They are two that Craig McLeish has high hopes for. And they also won the race for Paul Incio from Rangers. He comes in on loan, talented midfielder, and he starts today. I wouldn't say St Mirren were totally convincing in the League Cup, but they did top their group, and they've got a good record at Falkirk, having won here last season. So I'll just run through the teams for you. I've just been handed the Falkirk team, so it's Scott Bain in goals. It looks like a back four of Jack McMillan, Ryan Strain, Liam Henderson and Scott Tanzer. Dennis Melnix, Craig Sybil, Joe Gardner, Finn Yates, Ethan Laidlaw and Ross McKeever. As for St Mirren, it's Jacob Chapman in goals, back four Jayden Richardson, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Henry Fieldson, Ryan Carr, Samuel Ramos and Killian Phillips, with Paul Incio and Chris Mockery in behind SEO Sassouli. Subs for St Mirren are Urminski, Iduru, King, McAvoy, Thomas, Douglas, Young, Donnelly and Taylor. The referee at Falkirk is Duncan Nicholson and the VAR is Don Robertson.
This is always the intrigue on the first day of the season, Roger, because the St Mirren supporters, Falkirk supporters, they've had a look at their teams in the Premier Sports Cup group stages. I have been around Scottish football long enough to know that you can't really judge too much on the Premier Sports Cup group stages. When the league action kicks off, that's when you really start to see what your team is going to look like. So a bit of a glimpse today for the Falkirk and St Mirren fans of maybe what to expect for the season ahead. Yeah, really interesting season for Falkirk. They have been fantastic for years now under John McGlynn. League One champions, as Invincibles, championship title winners, top 6. They've got all the plaudits going last season, and rightly so, Andrew. But there's no Calvin Miller, there's no Dylan Tate, there's no Barney Stewart anymore. It is a new look side that David's going to be watching this afternoon. It didn't go well in the Premier Sports Cup. They lost at home to Ayr United. They lost in penalties to Alloa. It wasn't what they were looking for. So this is a big day for Falkirk at home. They will fancy their chances against the St Mirren side that watching the TV last Sunday, losing at home to Dunfermline. They needed to stage a fantastic comeback from 3-0 down to beat East Kilbride 4-3 before that. They've a lot of new faces in there as well for Craig McLeish. So already this looks like a game that both teams might well need to win. On Falkirk, it was going to be tough for John McGlynn to try and replicate last season anyway, and that's because, in the eyes of many, they overachieved. They came up from the Championship, had such a good season, but to be able to try and replicate that and do it while you lose the key players that Rodgers were talking about, Barney Stewart's, Calvin Miller, Dylan Tate, just makes it that much harder for John McGlynn.
Yeah, I don't think John McGlynn is the only manager in the Premier League or up and down the country that is in the same boat, because you always lose your best players, especially if you're a team like Falkirk. But the one thing I will say about John is he's got a brilliant eye for a player. We've seen that last year. Barney Stewart, for instance, nobody had ever heard of him. All of a sudden he's in the big time scoring goals. He picked up players that worked with him at Wraith Rovers, believed that they could go through the journey and obviously go and play in the Premier League, and they've certainly done that. He's been absolutely brilliant. Semi-final, the Scottish Cup as well. I think it'll be a difficult year for these two teams this afternoon, St Mirren and Falkirk. But I've got every belief that Falkirk will do okay and they'll still be in the Premier League next year.
And how important is it just to get that quick start, that early start, get points on the board? Because Jim Goodwin said that last night, as much as it was a really good draw for Dundee United, he said he could just take some relief in the fact that they've got a point on the board early. It's not going into week 2, week 3, week 4, when there's also stoppages in between for the League Cup, for the international break as well. And not having any points going, further and further, just the pressure starts to build. It does, and it builds straight away. We all know Scottish football. As soon as you don't get results, all of us in these studios start talking about players and pressure that gets on to managers if you don't win games of football. So it's a real opportunity for both sides. Yes, it's not been an ideal League Cup campaign for either of them. There's been a lot of change during the summer, but I think this is a game that both of them will be looking forward to try and get points out of it. I
think there's a little bit more pressure on Falkirk today to try and get that win at home, and it would be a great start for them. But also with Craig McLeish being appointed as a new long-term manager at St Mirren, it's an opportunity for him to go and show what he can do in the top flight.
Yeah, because it's been a big shift in style of play from Craig McLeish. He started it in his interim spell last season, moving on from what Stephen Robinson was doing at the club. Had such a successful spell at St Mirren, 3 top 6 finishes, won a cup with them. Craig McLeish wanted to come in and change things. He could only really do so much in the final stages of last season when you're firefighting a bit in the league, when you've got a set of players that are a previous manager's set of players. This is where he'll be hoping that he can really show what a Craig McLeish St Mirren team looks like.
Yeah, and listen, every manager wants to go in and do things their way. There's nothing the matter with that, Andrew. But going in at St Mirren, he's trying to fix something that wasn't necessarily broken. Stephen Robinson, 3 consecutive top 6 finishes for St Mirren. They won the Premier Sports Cup last season. It's the best St Mirren team for 40 years. So if you're going to go in and change it, and change the style, and make a big thing about changing the style, you need to make sure you get it right. Interesting signings. Looking forward to seeing Samuel Ramos this afternoon. I haven't seen him so far. Paul Inseo, who was outstanding for Raith Rovers on loan from Rangers last season.
Straight into the starting lineup.
It's interesting to see what he can do in the top flight. And I was disappointed David Friel didn't tell me what team the referee used to play for.
That is your 3 o'clock offering in the Scottish Premiership. There is one more game later on, Aberdeen against Hearts at 5:30. That should be a good one. We will bring you the team news a bit later on when that comes out. What about into the Championship? A couple of featured matches for you. Let's start at Capello. It's Morton against Partick Thistle. Fraser Wishart is there.
Yeah, good afternoon everybody, great to be back. I think this is the time of the season when we're all excited. Fans are full of hope, or they should be. The pitch is looking great, Capel pitch looking brilliant in front of me, new strips, new signings, and I think the start of the unknown and the hope for those supporters. I'm not sure there's too much hope amongst the Morton supporters just now though. The narrow avoided relegation or the playoffs at the end of last season, and the League Cup group games that you were talking about earlier, really poor. They didn't score a goal in any of the 4 games, never mind get a point. But this is an opportunity to put it all behind them, and it'll be forgotten if they do get a win today. But Ian Murray, a bit of a struggle for him over the summertime. Really not much to work with in terms of his budget, and it's difficult to compete financially against teams in the Championship who have got investors and signing players on decent salaries. But he has a core of experienced players like Brophy, Gillespie, Wilson still there. He's had a bit of creativity into the squad. Grant Savoury, ex-Celtic, he's not in the squad today, he's injured, but he's an exciting player, as is youngster Bobby McCluckey, who was released by Hearts. But in contrast, Matt Wilson's team I think will come here with lots of confidence. He's a good transfer window, building on that excellent season when they narrowly missed out on promotion, but they're in the last 16 of the League Cup. They're away to Hibs. In contrast to Morton, they're in pretty decent shape. Midweek, Ben Stanway re-signed for 2 years. That's really good news for the Jags fans. And like Dempsey, Smith, Ewan Henderson, who's an exciting attacking player, added to the squad. I think expectations rightly will be high for what looks like a strong squad. I fully expect to see Jags in the mix the title once again. It's always good to go off to a winning start. I think maybe for Morton it's probably more important that they don't lose, because another defeat would just add to sort of gloom and that poor group stage and the gloom around the ground at the moment, and the worries of their support, who in the end own the club. Although I think there is news going to be coming out quite soon that there's going to be they're going to be part of an investment group, multi-club ownership, so that's going to perhaps be announced in midweek, and that'll be good news for the Morton sports. I'm actually looking forward to this one. I think there'll be a few goals here, down to teams. 2 changes from Morton. They lost to Inverness Cally Thistle last week. Kinnear, the goalkeeper, goes out, as does Bobby McCluckey, to the bench, and come Harrison and Brophy. They line up with a 4-2-3-1 formation. Aelith Harrison's in goals, Dean Black, Chris Moore, Laith Fairney and Jackson Longridge across the back. Grant Gillespie and Ian Wilson in midfield, with Michael Garrity, Harry Cochrane and Callum Sandlands behind the experienced Eamon Brophy. The subs for Morton: Brian Kinnear, Bobby McCluckey, Louis Murphy, Michael O'Halloran, Joey O'Toole, Hayden Lang, Callan Burgess, Olivet O'Gnusva and Aaron Greenock. And for Partick Thistle, they made 4 changes. They haven't played for about 10 days. They lost in penalties to Stenhousemuir. Out go Faulkner, Drozd, Samuel and Henderson, and in come Logan, Mackay, Stephen, Watt and Fitzpatrick. Usual 4-2-3-1 for them as well. Liam McFarlane in goals, Cammy Logan, Cale Lockery, Dan O'Reilly and Paddy Redding at the back. In midfield, Robbie Crawford and Oisin Smith, with Gary Mackay-Steven, Tony Watt, Aidan Fitzpatrick and Solano Letsoza as the forward line. Subs: Lewis Badinokis, Sebastian Drodds, Alex Samuel, Ewan Henderson, Ethan Ingram, Matthew Faulkner, Liam Dolan, Stephen Docherty and Thomas Horn. And the referee at Capello is James Wilkie.
Yeah, what a season it was last year for your good friend Mark Wilson at Partick Thistle. How are you rating Partick Thistle's chances this season? Looks as if a good bit of business has been done in the summer transfer window. Probably probably the best bit, Ben Stanley getting back in. People thought that he was maybe gone, that he wouldn't be returning to Thistle, but fantastic news for the Jags that he's back.
Yeah, I think Mark will be delighted he's back. He was a massive player for him last year. Listen, there's nothing up with the boy having a look to see what his options are. Obviously money comes into it, but he's back now. Mark's developed a good squad there, good style of play. They'll be back up there, no doubt about that. Big support as well, big following. They were unlucky last year, played some terrific football. Didn't go off to the great start, I remember. They went to St Johnstone and got absolutely hammered, but I fancy them big time today. I think Morton are really struggling.
Yeah, that will be the big question for Partick Thistle fans. Can they go that one step further this season?
Yeah, listen, they've been so close over the past few seasons, and again, what I would say is they've kind of kept the nucleus of the squad together, and I think that'll help them. Again, they've had that experience last year. They got so close. I think they'll learn from that. Mark will learn from that as well, of how do you get over the line. We need to get closer. We need to be top of the league. It just shows you that the playoffs is so difficult, so you need to go out and win this league. I think they've got a really good chance this season, and it's a good game for him to have his first game against Morton. It'll be difficult, it's away from home, but it's one that if you can get 3 points on the board, it's a great start and they can start building.
And while there may be optimism surrounding Partick Thistle, maybe a bit of negativity surrounding Morton with the way they've started this season in the League Cup group stage.
Yeah, 4 games, 4 defeats, no goals scored. I read a piece with Ian Murray in the local paper down there last week, and he was talking they'd offered terms to young Mackenzie Cars for a deal, and he actually was quoted in the paper saying, I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't sign it. So when the manager's saying that, you know that the budget and the sort of off-field thing, support structure isn't necessarily there for Ian Murray at Morton. I think it's going to be a tough season for them. I expect Thistle to win today, and I think Thistle will be in a 3-way fight for the title with Livingston and Fairlawn.
Our other feature championship matches at Somerset Park. It's Ayr United against Arbroath. Gabriel Antoniazzi watching on there.
Yeah, Andrew, good afternoon from Somerset, the first Saturday of the new season. The last game I was at was Mexico against England at the Azteca, an instant World Cup classic. But home is where the heart is, and this is what football is all about. The championship begins here, and hopes are high for the honest men. 2 words, Gary Naismith. Since his arrival in the summer, they seem a team transformed. Now, yes, it's a small sample size, but they won all 4 in the League Cup group stage, including a win at Premiership opposition Falkirk and their pre-season matches before that. And it's such a stark turnaround from the final days of last season, as Roger Hanna can certainly tell you all about. They won just 1 game in their final 14, sank down the table and finished in 7th under Scott Brown and then interim John Rankin. They'll be hoping for a serious playoff push this campaign if the early signs are to be believed. They hope to kick it off with a winning start this afternoon. Arbroath had a mixed League Cup campaign, 2 wins and 2 draws. They did finish in the playoffs last season in the Championship, all the way up in 3rd place. They fell short in those knockouts, but don't be surprised if they shock people once more. David Gold and Colin Hamilton, co-managers, can they do it again? They've come close to the top flight a few times in recent years, a team of semi-pros. And let's get into the team news then. Just one change to the side that won 4-1 over Alloa last week. This is, of course, the hosts, Ayr United. It's Leon King in for Liam Dick. So it'll be Harry Stone in goal, Dylan Watrett, Kevin Holt, Leon King and Luke Macbeth at the back, Ben Summers, Rhys Leon and Mark McKenzie midfield with Kieran Shanks, Owen Sturton and Kenzie Mitchell. The forwards, the substitutes, Russell, Dick, Want, Taylor, Murphy, Hislop, Warburg and Douglas. For Arbroath, it's 3 changes to this side that beat Edinburgh City 1-0 last weekend. Stuart Mackey and Riley are in for Morrison, Patterson and Robinson. So it will be Aidan McAdams in goal, Scott Stewart, Craig Watson, Thomas O'Brien and Sean Mackey at the back, Scott Constable, Michael McKenna, Scott McGill and Ryan Dow across the middle, and Gavin Riley and Andrew Winter up top. The referee here is Ross Hardy.
Ayr United probably couldn't have asked for a much better start under Gary Naismith.
Absolutely terrific. You know, going through all 4 League Cup games, winning them all, including that win with a clean sheet at Falkirk. It was terrific. The new signings have bedded in. There was goals last week for the 2 new lads up front, Owen Sturton on loan for Dundee United and Kieran Shanks, who Gary Naismith would see in League One, scoring goals for Peterhead. So it's a new look team. There's a new captain, Rhys Lyon in there. Ayr started last season dropping points at Arbroath on day 1 and never really kicked on for Scott Brown after that, you know. And Arbroath did kick on, and they had a great start to the season, finished up in the playoffs. So it's a big day for both this afternoon. But I just hope Gabs hasn't got on one of those tailored vests because it's cold at the back of that stand at Somerset Park.
It's never changed, is it? It's never changed. I was there. I was the first game I ever went to was Ayr United at Motherwell. Big Motherwell supporter. My dad took me down to Somerset. And you're right, Roger, the back of that stand's incredible. But you're talking about Ayr. There are exciting times ahead because I think they have got off to a good start. And look at the reward they've got for the League Cup. You know, a derby against Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
Not a bigger game down there.
Friday night live in the telly.
Yeah.
You going?
No. I've had my three. I had my 3 goes at that.
Well, that is the picture from our featured matches. Of course, plenty other games that we will get into across the afternoon. In the next part of the show, we'll bring in all the guys, look at some of the biggest talking points of the week. And I think the biggest one from this weekend certainly is Derek McInnes' first game in charge last night. Rangers with a 1-1 draw away to Dundee United. We'll get the thoughts of everyone next.
The Ford Puma and the all-electric Ford Puma Gen E. Stylish, bold, and as driven as you are. And now, you could win one. Take a test drive in any Ford Puma to enter and be in with a chance of winning either the Ford Puma or all-electric Ford Puma Gen E. Search Win a Ford Puma to book online. Ready, set, Ford. To enter, take a test drive between the 1st of July and the 31st of August. T's and C's apply. 25 plus only. For details, see ford.co.uk.
Because you want a pair for work and a pair for the weekend. Because you like to leave a pair in the car. Because you can't decide which pair you like best. Because when you buy a pair of prescription glasses or sunglasses, we'll give you another pair for half price. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible. Includes prescription glasses and sunglasses. Cheapest pair half price. T's and C's apply.
Pre-order the all-new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 on EE. Unfold immersive entertainment with a screen made for movies. And get the edge with faster download speeds on 5G Plus on the UK's best network. Save £22 a month and save even more when you trade in. Pre-order today.
Saving on minimum 24-month 125GB Essentials plan. Eligibility, credit check and terms apply. Credit by EE Limited. 73% 5G Plus coverage. Verify at ee.co.uk/claims.
I'm Professor Noel Fitzpatrick, and as a vet, I know you want the best care for your animal companion. Pet insurance can help, but you need to choose wisely as not all policies are the same. Pet Plan aim to pay claims quickly and without a fuss, and that's one reason why so many vets work with them.
Get your pet the best veterinary care. Save 10% on new policies when you insure at petplan.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Fits all media as an appointed representative of Pet Plan Limited.
Chase is the digital bank that gives you 2% cash back on your groceries.
Like on a weekend treat?
Yep.
How about a new TV?
Is it from a supermarket?
It is.
Then of course. And with all that cash back, you could turn it into...
some gig tickets.
Exactly. Enjoy 2% cash back on debit or credit card spending on groceries, restaurants, everyday transport and fuel. Search Chase Bank. 18 plus UK residents. Chase current and saver accounts required. Maximum £20 per month. Eligibility, qualification, exceptions and T's and C's apply.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Saturdays are back with league action returning across Scotland this weekend. We've given you the preview of some of the featured matches we've got on the go today. There are 2 Premiership matches and then plenty down the divisions. A couple of Premiership matches tomorrow. It's Flag Day between Celtic and Dundee, or Flag Night I should say, on Monday between Celtic and Dundee. But all the action kicked off last night at Tannadice, the first game of the Scottish League season. Dundee United 1, Rangers 1, and Roger Hannah, it is the 4th season in a row where Rangers have failed to win on the opening day of the campaign. So much change has happened over those 4 years. Different managers, different owners, different players. But Derek McInnes not managing to find a different solution.
No, I said at 2 o'clock this was the weekend, Andrew, of hope, optimism and belief. But you might have to excuse Rangers fans from that because they will feel they've lived through this movie. The change of manager, several new players, 4 debutants from the start. But it could really have been any Rangers performance on any opening day in the last 4 or 5 years. The fans didn't learn anything they didn't already know. Ryan Naderi doesn't yet look up to it. Jerry Gassama looks a pale imitation of the player he was 12 months ago. Diamandi looks limited in the middle of the park. They're not going to get from either Sterling or McCrory what they got from James Tavernier going forward. Two Romans look limited going forward. There still looks to be a mistake in Manny Fernandez at the back. They've obviously had the blow of losing Ben Godfrey to that injury as well. But in the final analysis, had Jesse Randall taken that chance for Dundee United 5 minutes from the end, it could have been a whole lot worse for Derek McInnes.
We'll go around and get the thoughts of everyone, but let's get the thoughts of Derek McInnes first, shall we? Here's what he had to say after the game last night.
Disappointed with a lot of aspects of it. I felt we more or less wasted the first half, to be honest. I think Big Ryan's header, the keeper makes a good save, a couple of things flashing across their box, but I thought we had to defend more than we needed to. I thought you've got to credit their front three in terms of trying to penetrate. They kept trying to run gaps and force us back, but we just looked a wee bit slow to react a lot of the time. I think that's fair to say, and we had to deal with a lot of traffic in our box, mostly throw-ins and mostly set plays, because they were forcing us back and getting a bit of territory, which sometimes culminates in corners and free kicks, and you've got to go and try and deal with that. Second half, we got ourselves in a bit of a position and we've got to dig ourselves out at half time. I think the changes helped us, but I thought the approach to the team was far better, and we kind of just a wee reminder to them what we were trying to do in the game, and I thought we were far better. I thought the equaliser was coming before it did do. There was no real surprise when Tello catches it the way he does, because he's such a great technician, and he caught it brilliantly. And I thought the desire to get the equaliser was clear, and I felt for 5 minutes or so after that it was still clear to go and get the winner, but I thought the desire to get the winning goal wasn't quite the same as getting the desire to get the equaliser, and I'm disappointed that we never kept the shoulder to the wheel, and it wasn't through a lack of effort. I need to stress that, because I thought we looked fit enough and I thought we looked determined enough. It was just little basic mistakes littered with mistakes and silly decision making, and all that does is it knocks us, it gives them encouragement, it takes you further back, and everything all of a sudden starts to look a wee bit more difficult than it was, instead of just keep doing what we're doing. So we clearly need to improve in a lot of things. The squad will improve as we go along through this month, and the squad will look far stronger when we come out this window with some new signings, but there's games that need our full attention, and we've got games to deal with, and I do think we'll be better for having had that game, and obviously I'm still learning a bit about the players as well, and we're all kind of learning on the job, but we want to make sure while we're learning and wanting to improve that we're picking up 3 points when we can.
Derek McInnes saying he was disappointed with a lot of aspects of Rangers. Do you think the supporters will be sharing those feelings?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be alone. I wasn't impressed at all with Rangers last night, apart from maybe just after half time. I thought the reaction that Derek looked for, he got to get back into the game. He made the substitutions, and he could have took one or two more off. I thought Ashgard was the bright sparking light last night for him. I thought he played very well, took his goal well. I think the World Cup's helped him, full of confidence he looked like. I think there's a lot of work to be done there, but let's take nothing away, especially in the first half. I thought Dundee United played some really, really good football. A little bit of a different style, playing from the back, full of confidence, good move. Will Ferry down the left-hand side I thought was absolutely brilliant. But the only thing I would say about that boy, the worst thing he ever done is put his hand up and says he takes a long throw in, because he must have covered about 10 miles running from side to side to put the long throw-ins on top of Rangers and test their defence. But I do agree with Derek. He says after the game, didn't think they deserved to win the game. I think everybody would agree with that. A lot of work to be done. I really thought Rangers would have hit the ground running. I thought he got his team wrong, to be honest with you. And I think he showed that at half time. I thought Nadiri up front, I was surprised. Kasama, I totally agree with Roger. I don't think he's showed anything in months, the last 12 months, and all of a sudden they two pitch up, and he subs him right away for 45 minutes because it didn't work. So yeah, there'll be new signings brought in. They need someone. If you get guys like Shanklin up top, you need people that's going to create, and right now I don't see Rangers with any of their players apart from Ashgard.
Was that one of the glaring things last night? Maybe the lack of width or the lack of natural wingers. JD Gassama did start, but Ryan Adiri was the one that was then drifting over to the right hand side. Didn't have a great first half. Derek McInnes talked after the game, said that they need to strengthen. Yep. You'd imagine that in the wide areas that's the priority now for Rangers.
I think we knew that before the game as well. Listen, we've seen it last season. They brought in a lot of wingers. It didn't work for a number of reasons. They're in the same position just now. They need to bring in wingers. They've got Shankland in the middle of the box. You want him to be in the box. For me, I don't want him linking up too much of the play and getting himself dragged into patterns of play. You want him to be around the box. When you get the ball wide, make sure he's in and around the goal, because he'll put the ball in the back of the net. So they need wingers. They need to get players in. We know that. And I think Daz is right. I think Derek McInnes probably did get his team wrong. When you look at Gassama and Nadiri coming off at half time, he changed it a little bit, but there was a lot of sloppy play. There was a lot of, it looked a bit disjointed for long periods in the game as well. So you can see it's a new team, but again, Derek's right in what he says at the end of the game. You know, you need to win games of football at Rangers. You need to hit the ground running. He was really disappointed with the result, and it just, you know, it almost just heaps a little bit of pressure onto the European game, and then they've got the home game against Hibs on Sunday. So Roger said it before, we've seen this, we've been here before, where Rangers don't start the season well, so they need to turn it around pretty quickly.
The most telling quote in there, Andrew, as well, is when he says there was an urgency to get an equaliser and less of an urgency to get a winner. You look at Celtic last season, or any season you like, how many times has Celtic get last minute winners at places like Tannadice or Danes or Falkirk, because they keep going.
That's a mentality then.
Yeah, that Rangers team looked as if when they got the equaliser, they felt that was their job done. Yeah. Oh, we equalise, that'll be fine. There was no urgency from those players to go on and take the game by the scruff of the neck and get the winner. That must worry Derek McInnes.
Yeah, because there had been questions, David Freeland, of mentality about this Rangers team, not just last season, but in plenty of other seasons as well. It's been extremely clear that across the summer there's been a shift trying to get the previous leadership group out, trying to create a new leadership group, and Rangers fans will be hoping that that's not a worrying sign that previous trends may continue.
No, but Derek McInnes, to be fair to him, has only been in the job a matter of weeks, Andrew. But I think before we can talk about tactics, we can talk about signing style of play and everything, his biggest job and his first job is to shift the mentality completely. Because I agree with Roger what he said there. It looks as if some Rangers players are quite happy on each, thinking first game of the season away from home, that's not a bad result. It is a bad result. Rangers need to start winning games. They've got a really tough start when you take into European stuff, but they also need to go to Pittodrie soon. They go to Celtic Park before the international break in October as well, so Rangers can't afford to be dropping points on the road. And I think for too long Rangers have had talented players who don't really, I don't mean care, but they don't really have that desire that Derek McInnes talked to go and get the hard results, to go and grind out wins that Celtic have done over the years, and I think that's his first job. I think the Rangers mentality for years has been weak, and if he can change that, he'll have half a chance. But some of the players last night that were swanning about, I don't think they'll have long careers at Rangers under him.
Yeah, because Fraser Wishart, look, it is Derek McInnes' first game in charge. There are 37 games left of the league season. He's got a long contract. The transfer window isn't shut by the sounds of what he's saying. He wants to bring in a lot more players. He wants to bring in quality. But the one thing you don't want to be doing in the early stages of the season as Rangers manager is playing catch up. And if you don't get that initial win, it then just puts more pressure on the next game and the next game and the next game.
Yeah, and I don't think Celtic will be anywhere near as poor as they were last season. I know Celtic won the league, but we know they lost 8 games and they drew 4 games, and that's a lot of points that Celtic dropped last season. So Rangers been 10 points behind them last year, even when Celtic were having a poor season. They're going to have to up their game because Celtic will come out firing. I think, you know, some good new signings already, and they'll have a few more coming in as well. So you don't want to drop too far behind. And we always talk about the first Old Firm game, where in recent years Rangers have been like 4 points behind. They lose, they go to 7 points behind, and they do. And at that early stage, you're even thinking, can they catch up? So yeah, Rangers don't want to go off to too poor a start. But given it was a poor performance, then a point's maybe not bad, given they didn't play well at all. But I just think the Rangers squad as well will look totally different. You're looking at players on the bench like Neil Dragojevic. You've got Raskan as well, who'll come back in. He might move on, but they're top heavy in certain positions, centre midfield being one. And then Derek had mentioned that you guys in the studio talking about wingers and wide players like Gassama. I think Asgard might have a good season. season. There's something there. I think he's a good player. Didn't have a great season last year, but he's got a technical ability. But where does he play? So it's the wide areas, and I think it was Daz was saying, if you're playing with Shankland up front, he's getting in the box, you're going to go 4-4-2 and play the way that Hearts played as well. There's going to be lots of balls in the penalty box, and you need quality in those wider areas. So yeah, it's not a disastrous start, and I think Derek's more disappointed with maybe the performance rather than the result. A draw's not the worst, but the performance might worry him a wee bit, so that's something that's going to concern him. But I think the Rangers team will look totally different in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, one of the positives that Rangers will take away, what a goal it was by Tello Asgard.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a brilliant strike, and again, just I think Daz mentioned it before, has the World Cup just given him a little bit of confidence, the way that he can play, because he certainly came into Rangers with a really good background. Everyone was speaking about him. I don't think he hit the heights that we were expecting last season, so you're looking for him to kick on, you want him to kick on. I thought he was one of the positives from last night when you looked at his overall performance. Yes, his goal as well, but he contributed in the game. So he's one that needs to step up. He really does, because as I say, last season I was expecting a lot more from him. It didn't quite happen, but he's had his bedding in period. Now he needs to show what he can do.
In the case of Dundee United, they've had a few new signings in the door as well. Some real positive signs from some new players. Going into a game like that, going toe to toe with Rangers, a lot that Jim Goodwin can take away from that.
Yeah, and listen, he seemed quite pleased to get his point at the end of the game. He has bedded in a lot of players. Lucky Rose, his goal, he'll never be that lucky again in front of goal. He was trying to control the ball and it came off his shin and went into the corner past Ivor Pandor.
It's quite the difference in quality of goals between the two of them, but they count for exactly the same.
Of course they do. And listen, United could have scored more.
And the build up to the Dundee United goal was nice as well.
Exactly. And listen, Jesse Randall had that chance at the end, but I think Jim will be happy. He's getting some players better, and Michael Forbes at centre half looked a decent signing. Dylan Tate will do well for him in the centre midfield. Jack Walton back in goal, he was very keen to get him back in, so Dundee United will be fine this season.
I thought a bit of credit, but we're talking about Rangers, how poor they were. I thought it was all down to Dundee United. I thought Dundee United first half were excellent. Yeah. You know, I'm used to I thought Dundee United would struggle this year once again. I think it's a big season for Jim. But he's tweaked. He's obviously been working in pre-season. He's tweaked the sort of style. He's getting his players to be confident, playing from the goalkeeper out. Their movement was good, and I do believe the boy Will Ferry. I thought he was brilliant last night. I really do. I don't think they'll hold on to him. He's looking to probably move out. But I liked it. There were good signs about Dundee United last night. Okay, Rangers second half, once Derek made the changes, started getting a grip of the game. But usually Dundee United would go on and lose that game for me, right? But I thought they well deserved a draw last night.
Well, that is a look back on what happened between Dundee United and Rangers last night. We're going to look ahead to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and after the break we're going to have a bit of a predicting of the future. We're going to have a look at some of the predictions that the pundits have put forward for the season ahead. I'm sure that people will be very calm about what you've all predicted. We'll wait and see after these.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
15 minutes to go until today's matches kick off. 15 minutes to go until the first 3 o'clock games of the new season all across Scotland. Of course, things kicked off last night, a 1-1 draw between Dundee United and Rangers. We took a look back on that. We're now going to look ahead to the games today, but also the season ahead. We're going to look at some of the pundit predictions. I will hang fire on the three of you in the studio, and we're going to go around the grounds. First of all, David Friel was on the show last night and gave his predictions, and I will go to him again just to give us a refresher. We sent out a sheet to all the pundits, and we've got the Premiership League champions, second place and third place. There's a relegation playoff spot, who gets relegated from the Premiership, then the champions of the 3 lower divisions, and then both cup winners and player of the year. So give us a flavour of what you've gone for, David Friel.
Yeah, I must admit, I think St Mirren, I'm watching St Mirren today, and I do think they'll struggle this season. I just think they've lost too many senior players, Andrew, so I fancy them to get relegated. I think St Johnstone will be down there as well. I fancy Hearts to finish third, and I think Rangers will finish behind Celtic. Again, I mean, I look at Martin O'Neill's domestic record last season, and it was 59 points out of possible 69. I think he won, I think it was only 2 defeats in 23, and there was a draw at Ibrox and Tynecastle. Celtic, even for all their problems, were so consistent domestically under him. last season in terms of results, and I just don't see Rangers closing that gap. I think Celtic will get stronger. They're playing a bit of a risky game just now in terms of the Champions League play-off and the lack of squad additions and potential sales, but I think domestically they'll just be too strong again.
Fraser Wishart, I pre-warned you to get yours ready. I don't think you'd done them during the week, but I think you're ready now. Do you agree, disagree with what you're hearing from David Friel?
No, I mean, I actually was looking at Rangers thinking, could they win the title? But thinking about it last night, I think Celtic are just going to be so much stronger, and I agree with David, the gap's going to be too much for Rangers to make up. I think it will be close. Rangers will be far better this year than they were in the last couple of seasons, so I think Celtic will win the league. I think Rangers will be second. Third down, I mean, I've got this fear that Hearts are going to be nowhere near as good as they were last season. I think there's real squads, the turnover of squads, signing players from the National League, etc. They can't all work, and I know people go big in analytics across the board, but I do think they'll get third. But I think there'll be a gap between themselves and the old firm. And at the bottom, Falkirk, I think, will be there or thereabouts in a playoff. Dundee maybe 9th, 10th. I think St Mirren will be finished 11th this year, and I think St Johnstone will be relegated automatically.
Any shouts for the lower divisions? Anything you think could happen that might surprise people?
No, not particularly. I think the Fairman might win the championship. I just think Neil Lennon's signed a new contract. They've signed up some of their good young players. It seems to be a really good feel-good factor around. They beat St Mirren, they've beaten other Premiership clubs. They'll be stronger this year. I think they'll win the championship, closely followed by Livingston, and Partick Thistle will be very close. I think Ross County should win League One, although Hamilton Accies are certainly making a go of it. They're signing some good players as well. And I think Clyde, their local team, Clyde will win the League Two. I think Celtic will win the League Cup, Rangers will win the Scottish Cup, and the Player of the Year will be Casper Ho. Or Casper Who? Is it Ho or Who?
It's Casper Who is how it's pronounced.
Basically, Fraser has bought this morning's Scottish Sun and has read out my predictions and
So your predictions
claimed
as well?
them as his own.
Right, I'll get to yours, Roger, but I think they are very similar to Fraser's, aren't they? I'll get to yours, Cammy. I'll get to yours, Gordon. We'll go to Gabriel, shall we? We'll finish off the men around the grounds. Gabriel, you've heard 2 predictions for Celtic to win the Premiership. Are you going for a clean sweep?
I actually went for Rangers, Andrew, which doesn't look the prettiest of predictions this morning. And I will say that I actually did my predictions 10 days ago. That was before the Casper Who signing. I do think that he could be a game changer and he would be one of my contenders for the Player of the Year. But I will stick with Rangers. They've got a lot of their business done early. They look like they certainly need to add in wide areas. But Celtic are still short in certain areas as well. I think they're 2 imperfect teams. But as Fraser was touching on there, the rest of the league look like that as well. I was actually speaking to some colleagues yesterday at the Celtic pre-match press conference, and it feels like there could be 9 teams in the bottom 6 this season, 10 teams, because you look around, Hearts looked miles off it. Motherwell have lost a lot of players, but they did look really strong in their Conference League qualifiers. And as David Friel was touching on, the teams that he's watching today and so many others have lost such a bulk of players, and it's going to be such a turnaround. So it's going to be a really interesting season. But no, I'm going to stick with Rangers to be the Premier League champions, with Celtic in second, and I'm going for Hearts third, but I think they're going to be a shadow of the team they were last season. Falkirk finishing 11th, and yes, St Mirren relegated, unfortunately. I just don't think they look great under Craig McLeish. Very local team, Partick Thistle, my local side, got them to win the championship. Celtic to win both cups, and Benjamin Nygren to be the Player of the Year before a big money move away next summer.
What are you not liking about that?
I can't understand that he's left out St Johnstone near the bottom of the table.
Yeah,
he's obviously not done his research. He's been too busy.
Well, he said, Falkirk and St Mirren down there, so by that logic, David Friel is in for a terrible game this afternoon.
Yeah, I think St Johnstone will struggle big time this year, and I think people should agree with that.
Right, we'll go through the
worried about the arithmetic. There were 9 teams in the bottom 6, not by the bottom 9.
Is that what he says?
Right, we'll go through. I'll go through each category for all of you. I'll start Roger, Cammy, and then Gordon. So we'll go for who is going to win the Scottish Premiership, starting with Roger Hanna.
Celtic.
Rangers.
I said Rangers, but I'm thinking he cash.
No, you can't change now. You can't change now.
Can I not change now?
No, you predicted already.
Okay,
it's out there.
I'm going to stick with
on
Rangers,
social media in black and white.
Rangers,
You've said Rangers.
Okay.
Who is going to finish second? Are there going to be any shocks? Is Hearts going to do it again? Is someone else going to be up there? Or
Rangers second.
Celtic.
Okay, third place.
I think Hearts are still getting it.
Yeah, I think Hearts for me too.
I was going to go Aberdeen, but I'll stick with Hearts.
I mean, you kind of need to just stick with it. You can't keep on. I think you're
already
just trying to
done
cover yourself, aren't you? Because I've got all of yours on the screen in front of me. So if you say anything other than what you've put down, I'm just going to call you up on it.
Yeah, but
I think you're just going to sit on the fence.
It's very early to go, and you've no idea who my player of the year is. It's incredible. Do you?
I can see it, and it's a bold shout. I'll tell you that. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Do you know? Right, okay, and I'll tell you the reason why I went for him.
We'll get there. Who is going to finish in 11th place?
St Mirren.
St Johnstone for me.
I said St Mirren, did I?
You said St Mirren, and no surprise that you predicted St Johnstone to go down.
They're away.
I went for St Mirren to go down.
I agree with Dan. St Johnstone to go back down.
St Johnstone to go down. Right. What about the Championship winners? How many big Mark Wilson fans do we have in the studio?
Well, last night I had to take our own Tony Watt to task for refusing to tip a relegated or a relegation playoff team. And
I get the logic of him not wanting to predict what's happening in the Championship.
You're
in the Championship,
you're a pundit, you're not a pundit.
In the Championship, the fact that he's not predicting who's going to go down in the Premiership, we're going to force him into an answer at some point.
He was demanding to know how many of his colleagues in Super Scoreboard were on what he described as the Thistle train. So
how big is the Thistle train? We'll see.
All aboard. I'm on it. Thistle to win the Championship.
I'm on that as well.
I was, because I know Mark listens, but I know he's not listening, so I'll go with Neil Lennon, the film.
You're just picking two for every category here. Yeah.
No, I'll stick with Partick. I thought they were unlucky last year. I'll go with Partick.
You try to change again.
See when you say I'll stick with Partick, you've got no choice. No. You've already picked them, and that's who you've predicted.
I think that everyone should be allowed a get out clause once in
a wild card
before
the final match day of the season.
Of all the leagues, this will be the tightest between Thistle, Dunfermline and Livy.
I think as the window closes, you should be allowed to swap over a few.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you went from swap over one to now swap over a few.
Yeah.
It's going to be you're just going to change them all.
No, I'm not going to change them all.
Okay.
I'll never change St Johnstone if they win.
That's the only one that you're sure of.
Normally I would criticise that, but given that Hugh Keevins tipped 4 different teams to win the league last season, then I've no problem with you changing the prediction.
Exactly. I wonder what Shug's saying.
Let's go.
He's all over the place.
We'll get Hugh Keevins' predictions. I actually don't know have we got them on. I think they've been put out on social media. I'll go through his.
And then they've been corrected in social media.
Yes, I'll go through his after we go through these. Right, League 1 and League 2. Who's going to win League 1 and who's going to win League 2?
Ross County by the length of the road from Glasgow to Dingwall.
Some people thought that they would do that in the Championship last season.
Stand on me. Big Brian Graham will score 25 goals in that league. County will come straight back up.
Yeah, for Ross County for me. They've had a brilliant League Cup campaign, started the season exactly how they wanted, and I think they'll just kick on from here on in. Be comfortable.
I'm not even bothered about changing that one. Full house for me.
County.
Did
you say League 2? No?
League 2, I agree with Fraser Wishart. I think Clyde will come up. Darren Young is course and distance in League 2. He'll bring them up.
You've said Clyde, Gordon Dale.
Yeah, I have.
Cammy?
Clyde as well.
Clean sweep
for
Clyde. What about the cup competitions? Is there going to be a treble, a double? Is there going to be a team that cause a shock? We saw St Mirren do the League Cup last year.
My tactic with these predictions is whatever Old Firm team I pick to win the league, I take the other one to win the cups. So
just spreading it about.
Rangers will get some joy with the 2 cup competitions.
Okay.
Both?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I've went Rangers for the Scottish Cup and Hibs for the League Cup.
I've went Celtic as usual for the Scottish Cup, and I think I've went a wee outsider, Hearts for the League Cup.
You went Hearts for the League Cup, so you've gone Rangers, Celtic and Hearts. That's you just sort of spreading your chances of getting...
I came in with everybody in this radio station that listens, apart from St Johnstone fans.
Okay, right, Player of the Year. I always like this one because the thing is, it could be a player that's not yet come in yet. It may be someone that comes in later on in the window, but based on the evidence of right now, who you've seen, I'll get to you last, Gordon Dale. We'll start with Roger Hannah.
I think if he's coming in at £11 million, you have to suggest Casper Who would be favourite for Player of the Year.
I went for Lon Shanklin, the fancied Rangers to win the league. Listen, it didn't start great last night, but I think Lon Shanklin will have a huge say in where Rangers are this season.
Yeah, Casper Who for me.
Who did you actually go for?
Go on.
Who's on that sheet?
Vanja Dragicevic.
He didn't even get a game last night either. And do you know the reason I went for him?
He may well be Player of the Year. He may come in and be brilliant. Right. But have you laid eyes on him once? Have you seen him kick a football?
No. But see your statement of I laid eyes on him. I was in getting my new car the other day, and he was sitting right next to me in the car garage, right? having a coffee.
Did he just have a bit of aura about him? Did you?
He looked like, I didn't even recognise him. He looked like a schoolboy, right?
What do you mean you didn't recognise him? You wouldn't have recognised him anyway, because you've never seen him before.
Whether they're kidding on or not, somebody told me that's who he was, right? And I was sitting looking at him, and he looks very, very young. He is. I think he's about 20,
yeah.
Right? He was the captain as well, so he's got a big responsibility. I was looking for big things, off and running last night. He never even got on the pitch. So that's one that we can change as well before the transfer window.
You look for an outsider, you know how to do, like the lad Elding at Hibs. That Owen Elding,
Yes.
he'll score a lot of goals.
Right, okay, we'll get into a bit more of that later on, but we've got the 3 o'clock kickoffs to get through. They are coming up next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Scottish football is back across all 4 divisions. The games are getting underway around the country, so let's do this.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrant drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
We have had your long-term predictions, what's going to happen across the season, but we need to get your short-term predictions, what is going to happen between now and 5 o'clock in our featured matches. Let's start with Falkirk against St Mirren. What way is that going, Roger?
I'm going for a draw.
Cammy?
I'm going for home win, Falkirk win.
I'm going to go for a draw as well with Roger there.
Okay, what about Morton against Partick Thistle?
Away win for the Jags.
Cammy?
Away win.
Full house.
Full house on that for Partick Thistle. Not much faith in Morton. What about Ayr against Arbroath? I think I know what way you're going to go, Roger Hanna.
Home win for Gary Naismith.
Home win for me as well.
Yeah, home win.
Okay, right. Not too much variety in there. Nobody predicting a win for St Mirren, nobody predicting a win for Morton, and nobody predicting a win from Arbroath. We'll see how they get on. It is 2 minutes into the game between Falkirk and St Mirren. They couldn't wait to get things underway between Ayr and Arbroath. Gabriel Antoniazzi telling us that game kicked off 2 minutes early. The referee just so keen to get things going.
He's feeling sorry for Gavs. He sees him shivering at the back of that stand at Somerset Park with that wee tailored vest on. He thinks this boy's going to freeze to death on the 1st of August. Let's get the game moving. He's getting excited.
He's got his Mexico strip on. He's fine. He'll be warm.
God forbid how he's going to be feeling in the Scottish winter coming up if he's cold today.
Yeah, real developments. Look, just watching this game, all the new signings for Falkirk, all the new signings for St Mirren, but the biggest development we've discovered over the summer is Gordon Dalziel has discovered GPT.
It is one of the first things, and I always think this, whenever you come into the office and you're doing a show with Gordon Dalziel, he'll just mention something offhand that's going on in his life, and you know straight away this is going to be something that we're going to have to talk about on air. And now, about 3 years after everyone else, Gordon Dalziel has now discovered what AI is and what ChatGPT is.
For several months he thought it was A1.
I did. Yeah, I thought it was I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
It was funny. Thursday night I was in the studio with Gordon and he just threw it out there. You use that AI? And I was like, yes.
Oh,
I knew you.
I'm loving it.
It's
a game
absolutely
changer for
nothing
me.
to do it.
Do you know I made my first pasta dish last night through that? And I've got to say it went down very well. The neighbours were chatting my door.
What did you do? Did you put in what ingredients you've got? Ask it to...
Yeah, just talk me through it, and then...
Step by step?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What was it? Cook the pasta, put the sauce in, that's it?
Oh no, milk, butter, everything. Oh, it was paprika, everything.
You know what you should get ChatGPT to do next? You should ask it how to pronounce the word paprika. That'd be a good... Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Fine.
All right, so it's expanding your horizons. You're now cooking. What else are you getting it to do?
Make up a name for myself, like a stage name.
So you need to explain this.
So this came about because, Cammy, you are going to see just wide of the mark from Falkirk, nearly an early goal at the Falkirk Stadium. You were speaking about the fact that you're going to see Calvin Harris tonight. We were saying that Calvin Harris, his real name is not Calvin Harris. His name is Adam Wiles. Calvin Harris is a stage name. And you came up with the concept that you'd actually quite like to have a stage name. Now, normally, it only really works if you get one before you become famous, because if you then now try and coin it, people are just going to... Well, but before you're known as Gordon Dalziel.
Yeah, but I can change.
And you think people are just going to stick to it and call you that?
Yeah, so I'll put in my search... I did tell a lie. I says I was in the movies.
Right, that's a good start. Yeah,
right? And they spat out a sort of a stage name for me, which I'm very happy with.
And what's it gone with?
I can't remember what it is.
Well, why don't you look at it? It's on your phone, isn't it?
Okay, went with Grant Ryder.
Now, my problem with that, right, is that
I think Grant's a lovely name.
My problem with that is that ChatGPT works off of the basis of it remembers all the previous conversations you've had with it. So it knows a bit about you.
You think that's what looking for grants?
And all of the stuff that you have said to it, it has decided that your name should be Grant Ryder.
Nothing like that was in my pasta dish, let me tell you.
Right. Let's move on.
I quite like the name Grant. I think it's a modern day sort of I think that could stick. I want
Grant Ryder.
Grant Ryder.
Yeah. Like it.
I'm not sure. I mean, Mark
Spell
Wilson
with
got coined the mushroom, and that has stuck for years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Spelled with a Y, let me tell you.
I'm not sure that's going to stick. Right, is anything happening in the football so far? I don't think there's been too much on the go at the Falkirk Stadium. They did have one big chance, actually.
Jack McMillan had a chance. It's interesting to see Jack McMillan seems to be playing central midfield for Falkirk this afternoon. Ryan Strain, who's come in from Dundee United in the summer, playing against one of his old teams, he's at right back, and Dennis Melnick's the signing in the summers at centre back alongside Liam Henderson. So Jack McMillan's been getting forward to try and support the front line. He should have scored. He should have at least hit the target.
I should say we have had some correspondence in. I should say that it's Grant Ryder with a T at the end,
rather than
just to clarify. Oh no, rather than just not having a letter.
Oh, so
yeah.
That's even worse.
But I think we'll just forget that. That's fine. That can go over your head, and we'll just forget about that. Anyway, it is goalless between Falkirk and St Mirren at the Falkirk Stadium. We'll let you just think about that and try and work out exactly what that means. So goalless in the one Premiership match so far, but we have to do this first, and it's going to be the honours of Roger Hanna to do so.
The first half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrant drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
Now, first day, Andrew, of the Scottish League season. Therefore, in traditional SSB style, the question's about the Scottish Cup. Can you name the last 6 teams outside the top flight to have beaten Celtic or Rangers in the Scottish Cup? I will repeat that. Can you name the last 6 teams outside the top flight to have beaten Celtic or Rangers in the Scottish Cup?
If you haven't listened before, you can get all that information at Clyde SSB. You can see it written down, and that is where you want to send your answers. For the first half teaser, it's all the answers in the one tweet, and you want to send us that as quickly as possible because a place on the podium is at stake. So, as Roger said, you can see the question and you can get involved. It's fastest wins, and we'll bring you a second half teaser a bit later on. I think a bit of a quiet start when it comes to goals across.
I thought there'd be more goals in Scotland just now. None at all.
There have been none in League 2. There has been one in League 1, and it's a penalty scored by Craig McGuffey for East Kilbride. So a good start for Scott Allen and the coaching team there.
And listen, a huge day there for Mick Kennedy, Cy Ferry and Scott Allen. East Kilbride's first ever game in the third tier of Scottish football. Back-to-back titles. They won the Lowland League. They can straight through League 2. I was talking to their new captain, Cammy Elliott, through the week, Andrew, and he said when he first signed for East Kilbride 5 years ago, there were 40 fans at his first game. Now it's a sellout at K Park this afternoon for the visit of Queen of the South. Nicky Clark's Queen of the South there today. A huge game, and I think they'll do okay. It's a difficult league. I think there's 4 or 5 full-time teams in there, including Queen of the South, the visitors today. So it'll be a big ask for them. They'll be okay.
St Mirren just had a chance here. Killian Phillips, a ball over the top. Again, St Mirren have started the game really well, actually. They've pressed Falkirk high. It was a ball over the top, and he gets a shot away, a decent save from Scott Bain, and then defender manages to clear out for a corner, but Killian Phillips is just about to put the corner in the box.
Yeah, corner coming in from Killian Phillips, and it goes to the front post, headed away by Falkirk. So they will try and break away a foul by Paul and Seal.
You were a manager, Daz. Why would you have 6'2" Killian Phillips taking your corners?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I can't understand that. Obviously, they think he's the best crosser of the ball, but you've got to get your danger men in there, especially if you get height.
Surely
set
you've got
plays
another...
now are so important in the modern day game.
Is that not, did England not have it at one major tournament where Harry Kane was taking their... Did Rangers not have a period, or certainly a game that Ben Davies was taking their corners?
Well, you look at
to remember that at one
Rice
point
as well takes all the Arsenal set pieces. Again, but you'd think that Killian Phillips, you've got somebody in there that can put the ball into the box in a decent area.
The one that killed me last night, I was killing myself, was Will Ferry running from side to side for the long throw-ins. It's the one thing you now do. If you're going to sign a contract, you go, I'm not very good at throw-ins.
He must have been doing it well, because he's linked today with Anderlecht.
He's good. I thought I was very impressed with him last night, Roger. I thought he was excellent. He didn't stand out for me last year, but watching him last night in the opening game, I thought he was terrific.
You can't have seen too much of him last year, because he was pretty good last season. I think it was a £1.8 million bid that they ended up accepting from a team in Czechia, and he turned down the move.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm not surprised at that. I thought last night he was probably man of match for me, I've got to say.
I think we do have one of these to kick things off.
Goal Flash with Archiplan Glasgow.
And it is a goal for St Mirren. It's Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1, and it's Killian Phillips who has opened the goal scoring.
You want Killian Phillips in the 6-yard box, not taking the set pieces. It was a break down the left-hand side, but St Mirren, they whipped the ball in just to the sort of corner of the 6-yard box. Falkirk get caught trying to play the ball out. It was a poor pass out of defence. It got him in the back foot. The ball's quickly moved from side to side. I think it was, is it Samuel Ramos?
Yeah, it is.
Maybe it's rescued.
Is it Chris Mockery, actually?
It's Mockery.
Yep.
Great ball in by Henry Fieldson, and there was the finish at the near post by Killian Phillips, and Craig McLeish's men have the lead.
Yeah, it was a good finish, I've got to say, but if you're Falkirk camp, terrible giving the ball away, very, very slack, and then the defending at the front post is atrocious, but take nothing away from Phillips. He gets in there, gets ahead of the defender, and puts his side 1-0 in front.
Just more aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah.
Again, it's a ball into the box. You think the defender should be stepping in, and I know he goes with his head for it, and Killian Phillips outstretches his leg just to nick it in and put it past Scott Bain. But listen, I've watched this game in the first 10 minutes, and Falkirk have been really sloppy on the ball. They've gave away a lot of possession, huge amount of turnovers, and it's not like them. We've seen them a lot last season, really comfortable with the ball, but St Mirren have made it difficult for them.
It's a great ball in by Henry Fieldson. He's in the team. Declan John's injured at the start of the season. They signed him just for a sort of compensation fee from Queen's Park in the summer.
It's always been really impressive, I think, for Queen's Park, just 21 years old.
Listen, there was a lot of talk of him going to the lower leagues in England. St Mirren have nipped in and got him in the summer, and what a delivery that is for the goal.
Yeah, brilliant start for Craig McLeish and his team, 1-0 up away at Falkirk in the Premiership. It's one of only 2 goals across all the divisions that we've got so far. The only other is for East Kilbride. We are as far as 15 minutes into some of the matches because that Ayr Arbroath game kicked off slightly early, so maybe not a classic start to the season. However, there has been a goal in the Premiership, and what a start. Killian Phillips was one of the real standout performers for St Mirren last season. He and Miguel Freckleton, I remember Craig McLeish talking towards the end of last season about they kind of fit the model of players being brought in that they think they can then sell for a decent fee. Miguel Freckleton went to Lask Linz, the Austrian champions, but they've done well to keep a hold of Killian Phillips so far.
Listen, for now, the transfer window's still got another month and more to go. I know there was interest in MLS and Killian Phillips. I know he sounds very Irish. He is very Irish, but he was born in the United States, and there's always been interest in him from over there. St Mirren will be hoping, they sold, if you remember, Taosi Olasanya to Houston Dynamo a year or 2 back. They will be hoping they can keep hold of Killian Phillips because he's going to be hugely important for them this season.
Well, it is Killian Phillips getting St Mirren's first goal of the campaign. Can they get their first 3 points today? Still a lot of time to go in that match. Only 14 minutes played. Similar around the grounds. But as I mentioned, East Kilbride the only other goal scorers so far.
So it's a slow start to the new season from the Championship, League 1 and League 2. But I'm sure that will change. Plenty of entertainment, plenty of goals ahead.
There's David Friel already going along with your plan of wanting to change predictions, because he's predicted St Mirren to go down.
Yeah, I think one or two of the boys in here have predicted them. Did you?
Yeah, but they've been impressive. Listen, they've played this game really well. They've pressed Falkirk really high. They've obviously Falkirk have had a really difficult League Cup campaign. They've made it hard for them. They've won the ball high up the pitch, and Falkirk just don't seem to be in the rhythm yet.
You notice Dad's always like this. I think the referee today is Duncan Nicholson. You don't think he's a ringer for David Friel? Wait till you see him.
Is it? Well, he's a fair size.
Nice.
Yeah. I can't really see him just now.
I actually hadn't ever noticed that before, but I do see where you're coming from.
Oh, do you see the resemblance there?
Yeah.
He actually runs like David walks. You know, like a giraffe eating a carrot.
Giraffe eating a carrot. Very specific.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You've been shown a photo of him now. Do you see it?
Yeah. Absolute spitting image.
To be fair, David Friel can't be too against it because he's just messaged us to say he's taller. That's the only critique he's got of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does look a wee bit like him.
And by the way, none of you went for a St Mirren win today.
It's still early doors.
Still a long time to
early
go.
doors, but I do agree with Cammy. I think they've started at the better. They're looking more positive. They're looking a threat. So Falkirk got an opportunity here for the wide areas to put it in the box and test their defence.
A goal in League One. It's Montrose 0, Hamilton 1. So it is the Ackies that have opened the scoring. I don't think the scorer has quite been updated yet, but the goal has just gone in between Montrose and Hamilton, and it means Hamilton are 1-0 up. So
Is Hamilton back at Hamilton's pitch?
Yes.
And where are Clyde? Are they back at Clyde's pitch? Have they swapped again?
No, I think they're not. They're sharing.
Are they sharing? Okay. Just to clarify,
Clyde
just in case
I'm not getting ready to move into a ground at Crown Point in the east of Glasgow, I think.
Yes.
But I think they're still at Hamilton just now. Interesting, I was going to say, Andrew, it was a great start that you and I raised our eyebrows at and just before the kick-off in the Falkirk St Mirren game. Last season, in 38 Premiership games, St Mirren scored 12 goals from open play. So
that is wild.
Wow.
12 goals from open play.
So to get one in the opening quarter of an hour of match day one this season, it'll be a huge boost for Craig McLeish.
I think the next team after or above them had
25.
almost double or more than double.
Here's another chance,
which is incredible.
St Mirren. Oh, here's a chance. Oh, you got to get over it and keep it down.
But deflected.
St Mirren, you're right. Very positive. From St Mirren, Falkirk are not gelling at all here. Bit disappointing from that point of view, but all credit to St Mirren.
I think looking at St Mirren from the difference, certainly from what I seen last season, is attacking wise going forward, they just look as if, you know, when they're going forward in numbers. They had 3 or 4 bodies in the box here when a ball's coming into the box. So yeah, listen, the new style of play that Craig McLeish has brought in is working so far.
I think an own goal it was by Sean McGinty, which has put Hamilton ahead against Montrose. Forfar have taken the lead at home to Kelty Hearts. Angus Mailer on the score sheet 15 minutes into that match. So the goal's starting to
they'll come
now.
Listen, start of season, slow starter, slow burner. I was always the same myself when I played, you know, as a centre forward. Usually took me 15 minutes to get warmed up, and then the goals started flowing.
You feeling alright after your time off? I know you had a few weeks off. You're now right back into the swing of things.
I've given up the golf and taken up a new hobby.
Yeah, what's that?
Cornhole.
Please explain more.
It's very big in America. Gabs will know because he was over there. He's probably played it.
It's when you throw the beanbags, isn't it, and try to get it into the sort of sloped.
Corn bags into a ramp with a hole in it, and it's very competitive. I play with boys from over your neck of woods, south side. I'm in the team, number 1 berth, captain, and we're starting a league this year. It's brilliant. So I don't know what you're laughing at. Everybody's got it. I mentioned it the other night there. Gordon Duncan's got one in his house for his kids. Obviously you can play it with the kids. It's all levels, all ages. Fantastic it is.
Are you at the top level?
Are you being paid to sponsor some sort of cornhole league? What's going on here?
No, but if
you lost your mind.
If MDs listen, I would take the boards, because you can make your own boards up and everything like that. MD will tell you it's massive.
Anybody will tell you.
Yeah,
anybody will tell you,
Roger.
Roger.
I bet you every listener's probably played it at some point in their career.
Have you played cornhole before, Roger?
I'm not sure that I have. No.
Do you know what it is?
Yes, I know what it is. I've actually seen it a lot in America when I was over there this summer for the World Cup. I've seen people playing it. So yeah,
I'm in a team. I'm the Southside champions We've not played MD yet, but we're a champions.
I mean, there are these fads. People love paddle and stuff like that now. That's a big surge. Maybe cornhole is going to be next on Gordon Dale's influence.
I'm sure he will be very good at it. If you remember, his golfing prowess. I've seen him playing snooker, the very efficient snooker player. And back in the day, he was the Bonkle all-in table tennis champion, weren't you?
Was it not badminton?
Was it badminton?
Yeah, I was a Bonkle North Lanarkshire under-16 badminton champion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's still there. I'm assuming it's been taken down now. But after it got spoken about on air, someone went to the trouble on Wikipedia of editing your Wikipedia to have a full table of your your Bonkle badminton under 16 matches. Someone had gone to the trouble of making that all up, but sadly it's gone now.
I was very successful. I could have made a career out of it rather than getting into football.
Is it too late to make a career of the cornholing?
No, cornhole's for all ages out there. Please look it up, get it played. You'll really enjoy it. You can even listen to the show, listen to us as Falkirk come through. Great opportunity, much score.
He's gone straight to Jacob Chapman. It was a decent opening, a decent opportunity for Falkirk.
I'm really anxious as to what you typed into ChatGPT when cornhole came up.
No, I stumbled on it. I walked by and a couple of guys were playing. I thought I'm quite interested in that, and they welcomed me into the team, and all of a sudden I became captain and number one player.
The world's first cornhole influencer, Gordon Dale. Right, let's get back to the football, shall we? Stirling Albion have taken the lead against Dumbarton. Jordan Allen has scored from the penalty spot. There's a goal for Annan Athletic against the Spartans.
It's a big goal, that.
Charlie Maxwell on the score sheet.
Are you boys having your wee wager?
Well, he never paid up last time.
I'll give you it.
Yeah, that was last year.
You were busy all summer.
Right, okay. I'm going for Clyde to win, so I'll go Clyde above you.
This is. I need to take Annan, don't I? I think I predicted Clyde have got to win the league. So you're giving me a little bit of a.
So that would potentially be the worst bet ever for Cammy.
It's shocking.
He thinks Clyde are going to win the league, and you're just saying I'll take Clyde, you take Annan.
A few points.
Mm-hmm.
Right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll take Clyde out of the equation and I'll pick another team against Annan.
Right, okay.
I will take. I'll tell you what, I'll take the Spartans, although they're 1-0 down.
Right, good. So whoever finishes above?
Yeah.
Perfect.
What's on the line?
I owe you a meal, don't I? What can we do this year?
A meal and wine.
I don't know if it was wine.
Yeah, it was in the package. Is it? You don't go out for a meal without a bottle of red, mate. We'll go a wee double or quits. 2 meals.
Alright, okay.
Does that mean you would have to go out for 2 meals with Gordon Dale? Because that's a double loss. You have to pay for them and you have to spend 2 meals with them.
Listen, I was sitting at Motherwell train station waiting on this man come to drink my coffee at Greg's, waiting, chauffeuring him right into this studio. Wasn't I, mate?
Yeah, it was lovely.
And now I'm taking him right back to Hampden to see, what's the guy's real name?
Adam Wiles. It's Calvin Harris.
Grant Ryder.
No special appearance from Grant Ryder. No.
Grant Ryder will not be there tonight. He's got other plans.
Raith Rovers 1, Stenhousemuir 0. Marvin Bartley, Stenhousemuir going a goal down to Raith Rovers. Paul McMullen scoring for the hosts.
Making signings last night. The lad McIntyre that used to be at Hibs joined him. We got another goalie through. Robbie Hemfrey come in. So he's had a busy week planning for what is Stenhousemuir's first ever game in the Championship. He knew it was going to be tough against Dougie Emery, a man he once beat the pundit, if you remember.
Yes.
So a difficult trip, difficult start at Starks Park today. But after the way they played in the Premier Sports Cup, topping a group that included Thistle and Livy, I think Marv's got high hopes for them.
It'll be a hard year for him.
Yeah, well,
Roger, because you quite rightly said at the top of the show, that Championship is very competitive. There are a lot of good teams in there, full time as well. I know Big Marv, I don't know how he's full time, because he must just sit in the office, because he's no players that are full time, so I don't know how that works. Maybe he answers the phones or whatever he does. But it's got to be a hard year. But you're right, group stages he was absolutely brilliant. He'll have them well organised, but delighted he's back in.
I think it's the home games for Steny. Do you know, they can make that really difficult for teams going there. It's a tight pitch, it's a tight stadium, so it's going to be a tough season for him. I think when you look at his home games, that's where he'll be looking to try and take as many points as possible. Listen, see if Steny survive this season, that's an incredible return, because every other team in that league is, apart from Arbroath's, full time. So this is their first venture into the Championship, so it's a big step for them.
Almost an opening goal for Partick Thistle. Gary Mackay-Stephen has hit the bar from 12 yards out.
Good play by St Mirren here. Nice passing move. Paul Seo's involved. It's gone to Sully in the box. It's back across. They're playing well, St Mirren. This is the type of football that Craig McLeish has been demanding of them through the Premier Sports Cup groups. And some of the new signings look as if they're decent acquisitions, Andrew.
Falkirk are second best, aren't they? Again, that bit of play, as you mentioned there, Roger, just one touch passes all the way up the left hand side, creates an opportunity, and it just looks like St Mirren in control. It's almost like what you're used to seeing Falkirk, like passing the ball about, being very comfortable in possession. So they've started really well.
There's more goals in this game, guys. There's no doubt David Frail will get more goals. It's too open. And if St Mirren get the next one, I think it'll be a long road back for Falkirk, especially at home at an opening day. It would be a real poor result for them.
Do you want to give us a reminder of that teaser?
Yes, of course, a special Scottish Cup teaser. Can you name the last 6 teams outside the top flight to have beaten Celtic or Rangers in the Scottish Cup?
I think we may have to make that 7 rather than 6.
Can I just point out at this juncture, this is Hugh Keevan's question, nothing to do with me.
and you know what?
And he has been under the weather.
He's not been very well, so you know what?
If there's
a mistake in it, that's fine. If you want to give me your piece of paper, Roger, I will write down exactly the other team, and you can let us know what's happening in that Premiership match.
Well, it's still Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1, 26 minutes gone. Killian Phillips with that opening goal, and it is no more than St Mirren deserve. They have bossed this game so far. Nice fluent passing movements. The new signings look good. Ryan Carr in the middle of the park. They've got Ramos and Mockery just off Sully, and a brand new front three. Paul Seo on loan from Rangers in there as well in the middle of the park, looking good. And I think the St Mirren manager, who's had a very difficult week, will be quite happy with the first 26 minutes he's seen.
Just having a wee look at the scores there in East Kilbride. They went 2-0 up, and then now it's 2-1. What a game over there.
Yeah, it is all happening in that game. It was a second goal for Craig McGuffey that put them ahead, but Jack Stott has pulled one back for Queen of the South. So it is East Kilbride 2, Queen of the South 1. Is a good start for Hamilton, who are now 2-0 up away to Montrose. Stuart McKinstry on the score sheet for them. Edinburgh City 1-0 down to Elgin City. Jack Murray scoring 25 minutes in.
You're a geographical expert in these parts. What should we expect from Queen of the South? I saw them against Aberdeen in the Cup. Nicky Clark and Sandy Clark in charge now.
Yeah, no, listen, I think Nicky's first gig as a manager, still playing, managing that. I think that's why he brought his dad down to be on the sidelines. Very experienced coach as assistant manager. So I think Queen of the South, they've stayed full time. I kind of expected them possibly to go part time, but they've stayed full time. I think they've cut their budget, so it'll be tough for Nicky this year. I think they'll be looking at playoffs, because you've got, like we mentioned before, Ross County in that league. There's a lot of strong teams, because I'm looking at Montrose results. Montrose had some big results, obviously that one against Dundee United in the League Cup, and they're now at home getting beat to Hamilton.
Does that surprise you, the fact that they cut their budget to stay full time? Surely if you've got ambitions, you go part time, which gives you
100%.
a better budget to go and get better players, because players out there now, if they've got good jobs, are quite happy to part time down the lower leagues.
100% agree with that, and I think that you're now, Queen of South have put themselves into that area of just being able to get younger guys. You know what I mean? You're not going to get a weathered, experienced player, because the budget's so low. And Daz is right. If you go part time, get a lot of good players that are still look after themselves and can perform at that level.
You all predicted that Clyde were going to win League 2.
You're getting beat.
Clyde 0, Stranraer 1. Ronan Hughes on the score sheet.
Yep. Listen, Stranraer, they'll be pushing for a playoff place as well. I know Daz is very friendly with the first team coach Martin Fellows there. He knows him well, and knows what he's doing with behind Chris Aiken there. They'll be trying to push hard. They were unlucky not to get to the playoffs last season, and they will be delighted if they're one up at Clyde this afternoon.
Oh, is that young Martin who's down there? Oh, right, okay.
Did you say good friend?
Right, I don't know his second name. That's the problem.
Remember we had this conversation at Fraser's dinner?
No.
Remember,
he
you had your tie on, remember?
He worked at Scotland. Young, is that where he is? Oh, I call him Mourinho.
Mm-hmm.
He worked.
Mourinho.
Yeah, he worked with us years and years ago. Lovely kid, absolutely brilliant. I'm delighted. I didn't know that until you've told me twice.
Yeah. Good to see you've been keeping up with his career.
Twice.
What's that?
I've told you at least twice.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know something? I miss Shug. I hope you're listening, Shug. Can't wait to get you back.
Partick Thistle are getting closer. They've hit the bar again. Paddy Redding this time from 20 yards out. So Partick Thistle are knocking on the door. They've hit the woodwork twice, and they will be hoping that they can make that breakthrough before half time.
Well, if they get one goal, I think that'll be enough, because going the evidence with Morton in the League Cup, they
might just never score again.
They didn't get a goal, did they? I don't even think they had a shot at goals. There's worrying times down there. I've got to say, I think I'd be the only player apart from Morton players to say I used to like playing at Capitol. It was one of those grounds I really liked playing at. There was something about it, just a small. Don't get me wrong, the dressing rooms were terrible. Yeah, right. I'd rather get changed outside than get changed in there. But the dressing rooms were poor, but the pitch was absolutely brilliant.
Pitch was always a bowling green, wasn't it? Any time of the season, it was really, really nice and flat. Quite a big pitch as well. So, yeah,
it is. Edinburgh City 0, Elgin City 2. A good start to the campaign for Elgin City. Lewis Hyde, 28 minutes into the game, has given them an advantage on Capello. I, a few years ago, went to go and do a Scotland youth commentary, full 90-minute commentary down there, and I got there, and the setup there was they had built scaffolding into the stand so they could put the cameras in there and give it the full setup. They then had a table for me where I had all my commentary kit. The problem was
blew out
that the table was behind the scaffolding where the cameras were, and I could only see half the pitch.
Well, having seen some Scotland youth games over the years, Andrew, that's maybe not the worst vantage point.
It's probably not the best when you're trying to do a full 90-minute commentary that you can't see half the pitch. But yeah,
was that how did you get around it?
Ended up having to
just commentated in half the pitch.
No, I ended up having to get a feed of the game, and I had to sit and commentate on the feed of the game, despite the fact that the game was happening 40 feet in front of my eyes.
So you could see one side and then watch the telly for the other side. Oh, perfect.
And it was
challenging.
Yeah, challenging. It's the type of thing that makes you better at your job.
You were a minute delay.
Well, if you're wanting challenging, it's certainly a challenging afternoon for John McGlynn at the minute, because they are second best to St Mirren. They've offered very little. They're trying to push forward towards Jacob Chapman's goal, but this new St Mirren goalkeeper would think life in the Premiership is a piece of cake.
Yeah, he's not had a lot to do. I think Falkirk have had one chance they should have done better. But all credit to St Mirren. I think St Mirren have been absolutely excellent. Here's a great chance here.
Yeah, Esiosa Sule is forward. He has a strike across goal. That one just goes wide of the mark. He is someone that St Mirren were very keen on getting through the door. Had a very unlucky time of it last season. He joined Motherwell on loan from West Brom. Played in all three of their or the start of their League Cup group matches. So Jens Bertolascu obviously showed a bit of trust in him, thought he was a good player, got injured, ended up having to return to West Brom, wasn't seen again.
Yeah, come through at Celtic as a very young man, moved down south to West Brom, now back up. We'll be hoping to make an impact this season. No Michael Mandron, no Dan Lundaloo, who were both impressive under Stephen Robinson, but that chance was all about Paul Incio, the Rangers loanee, sharp in the middle of the pitch, pinching the ball, lovely first time pass through, and Sule should have hit the target.
They've not let Falkirk settle at all, have they? Falkirk like this passing game, but St Mirren have been right in their faces from the word go, and it's certainly working for them.
This first 33 minutes, Craig McLeish needs to take a huge amount of credit, because again, the way he set his team up, how aggressive, distances, and so you mentioned it there, he's able to steal the ball because he's close to the midfielder. When he takes a touch, he snaps at his heels, gets the ball, it creates an opportunity. So they've been excellent in this first half.
A few goals going in down the divisions. A big one for Marvin Bartley. Stenhouse-Muir have equalised against Wraith Rovers. Lewis Hodgkiss on the score sheet. Clyde have equalised against Stranraer. It's an own goal by Lewis Gilly. Edinburgh City have pulled one back against Elgin City. They're now just 2-1 down. Josh Gregor with the goal.
And Falkirk could do with a goal. Moving forward at the minute there, a pass by Ross McKeever. trying to make progress on the left hand side of the box, and they just can't quite piece it all together. McMillan's there, Finn Yates is there, but just not quite happening yet for Falkirk this afternoon.
Well, a cross into the box, and almost that was you're filling in for Hugh Keevans in the studio today, and you almost had a classic Hugh Keevans moment.
Never in doubt.
Almost had a classic Hugh Keevans moment where you were down playing Falkirk and they were not far away from getting on the score sheet as you were talking.
To score there,
I
Rogers,
agree with you. And listen, I saw Falkirk a few times last season for Super Scoreboard Daz. They had a great front four. A lot of people talk about Barney Stewart, but in behind them, Calvin Miller and the two lone players, the lad Williams and the lad Wilson, Cairo Wilson. And they had pace, they were direct runners, they had good
and even
delivery.
Ben Brogio towards the end of the season.
Creating chances for Barney Stewart. And all four have gone. Barney's been sold to West Brom, Calvin's moved on to go to Hearts, the two lone players are back at the club, and it's like a brand new start for Falkirk.
Again, a chance for St Mirren.
I've got to say, it's a good game.
End to end.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be a classic, but it's certainly living up to a decent game.
That was a big chance, I'm right. I think McKeever's got to score. It's great movement, actually. It's a good ball into the box, right into the middle, in between the goalkeeper and the 6-yard box. He moves away from his defender. I don't know if he just stops his run a little bit, maybe takes a step too less, but it was a big chance.
So it is still Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1 in the only 3 o'clock Premiership match. There should be a good one later on between Aberdeen and Hearts.
Dear
Up
God,
at the top,
that's
baby.
right,
A big opportunity, a big opening for Falkirk, and it's just wide off the side netting.
Didn't look like he's
when are the schools back in Motherwell, Daz? Because you'll need to take issue with Alec Goggins for trying that pass.
My big close friend of Poor. Well, that's how St Mirren got their goal, giving the ball away cheaply, and they get punished, Falkirk. But fortunate enough for Gogic there, Falkirk didn't punish St Mirren.
Not something you instantly link Alec Gogic with. Usually quite safe in possession, plays a safe ball, but he was lax there, and Ross McKeever needed to test the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he didn't convince me that he was...
Didn't catch it right, did he?
No, he did not. It didn't look like he was going to score, but St Mirren once again, they're just pressing Falkirk all over the pitch.
The press has been excellent. Again, you look at that, there was 3 players ready to go up Falkirk, and again, you've got to give credit to the manager because he's set the team up like this. He knows the way that Falkirk want to play. We've seen a lot of it last season. He's obviously looked at them and went, how do we make it uncomfortable so that we can be successful in their final third, get the ball off them, press them high, make it difficult for them. And Falkirk have been second best in this first half.
The video printer has failed me because it came up saying that Josh Grigor had scored for Edinburgh City to make it Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 2. It was actually an own goal by Josh Grigor, which means it's actually Edinburgh City 0, Elgin City 3.
3-0.
Half an hour into that game.
It was a tough enough season for Edinburgh City last year with that points deduction. They managed to keep themselves up when they won the Pyramid playoff final against Brora Rangers. But if you're starting a new campaign, losing 3-0 at home to Elgin City before half time, it doesn't really bode well for an improved campaign, Andrew.
No, it does not indeed. So it is. How long are we? 38 minutes into the Falkirk St Mirren game. We'll be slightly ahead of that in the Ayr Arbroath game because that one kicked off a couple of minutes early, and it will be similar to Horton against Partick Thistle in our other featured match.
We now have the first photographic evidence of Gabriel at the back of that main stand at Somerset Park. It looks as if it's the middle of December.
You don't get any sunshine up there.
Let me tell you, that pub he was in Boston must seem an awful long time ago, Andrew.
Yeah, it just has its own climate, the back of that stand.
Very much so. What was that bar? Remember he was on the show in the summer and everybody looked like him. They all had that sort of orangey pink Scotland away top, and they all had wee beards. Everybody looked the same.
It was called the Greatest Bar.
Yeah,
that's what it was called, the Greatest Bar in Boston.
Yeah, I went in there for a little drink when I was there.
Did they all look like Gabs?
No, Gabs wasn't there when I was there. I went in for a little drink though.
So you purposely timed it for when he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah,
because he was in there pretty much every single day.
Yeah, he was
for work purposes. I should say.
I think the day that I was in there, that they were possibly over at the stadium because it might have been a training day for the team.
You timed that well.
Yeah. Did you enjoy?
It was great. I actually genuinely
tell Andrew how good it was because I've never seen him this sick in all my life.
He's still sick. It was. I actually see, to be honest, I don't get to go to a lot of games as a fan, but I really just enjoyed the experience and going there with my kids and stuff. It was brilliant. Match day was amazing. Just going over to the game and everything that came with it. Unfortunately, the game and the result wasn't great, but yeah, it was a brilliant experience.
Seems a long time ago, Cammy.
It certainly does. It certainly does.
Now we've got the league season back.
Yeah, are you over it? We were a bit concerned about you in the summer. Are you over it?
Over what? I had a fantastic time back here with all you lot.
I mean, what more could a man ask for? He'd every Monday night in here with me for an hour. Why do you need Boston or Miami?
Carrying his chin all the way into that studio every night.
Where else would I have wanted to be but Clyde Bank?
Scotland got a manager yet, Cammy?
No, it doesn't look like it, does it?
No.
It's all gone very quiet. Which, I mean, there is an international break approaching very quickly.
4 games
There's a 3-week international
yeah.
break. I mean, it has gone very quiet. Would you be expecting news before then? Do you think it's going to be a permanent appointment before those 4 games? Does there have to be a permanent appointment before those 4 games?
No, listen, it doesn't need to be anything. If you're not making a permanent appointment, you would imagine it would be Stephen A. Smith for the 6 Nations League games, but I would imagine the SFA would want to make a permanent appointment.
Could he ever get it, if he does well, do you think Stephen could ever get it full time?
Anything could happen to us.
Yeah, be interesting.
Anything could happen.
Do you know, there's a lot of people surprisingly predicting that the return of Steve Clark.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's a lot of people?
Well, one, Stephen Mill, that does a podcast with me on a Monday.
You think he'll come back?
Well,
no way.
And Stephen's right in there.
Has he still got that 4-year contract in his top draw?
Look, never say never. Look, we had an exciting season last year, and you couldn't predict half the things that went on. So
I would be surprised at that.
Yeah.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm only putting Stephen out there for the
somebody
fall.
said that's why the SFA were keen to boycott the World Cup, so they didn't have to appoint a manager.
What route do you think Scotland go down? Because there's the theory of there's a lot of people that want the Scotland manager to be Scottish. I think it's fair to say that the options are maybe limited when it comes to Scottish managers. There's either Scottish managers who are unavailable, or their wages are beyond reach of the SFA.
I think both of those are a problem. People would talk about David Moyes, but David Moyes financially is out with the reach of the SFA. People would talk about Derek McInnes, but he's got a new job himself this summer, you may have heard. Other than that, where do you look? There's not too many. People spoke about John McGlynn in the summer. Is that a realistic appointment? I'm not sure that it is. So do you do what Wales did? Wales went and get Craig Bellamy, an untested guy with a great international playing career. So does Scotland go and get Darren Fletcher? Do they go and get Stephen Naismith and promote him? Or more likely, do they look overseas to someone who has had success as an international manager before, maybe isn't in the elite group that would demand wages that the SFA couldn't afford? So it'll be a fascinating
What do you
decision.
think about that, Roger? Do you think that we should have a Scottish manager?
I genuinely don't mind.
No.
Honestly, I don't. I think the game's moved on from there, Daz. And a lot of people are against it because the only time we've done it before, it was an abject failure under Bertie Vogts, but that was just the wrong man at the wrong time.
Here's a great
Big
chance
opportunity for St Mirren, who are breaking forward. It's Sosa Sule, lays it off, and it's a good last-ditch challenge. We do have one of these in the Championship.
Goal Flash with Arkaplan Glasgow.
Very abrupt end to that new goal flash, isn't it? It is Ayr United 1, Arbroath 0, and it's Ben Summers, a strike from the left, a cross goal into the bottom corner, a product of the Celtic Youth Academy. Ben Summers, and he's put Ayr United 1-0 ahead.
He was a lad that in the movie of Tommy Burns' life played a young Tommy Burns back in the day, but he's already making a name for himself. He was in the fringe of the Celtic first team, he moved out a couple of loan spells. He's now permanently at Ayr, and I am delighted he's scored the first league goal of the Gary Naismith era.
Yeah, big goal again right before half time. Perfect time to score for Gary Naismith to get that goal. Just settles you down, but yes, it's a really good goal. I think Ayr United will do well this season. I really do. Gary Naismith's
top 4.
Yeah, honestly do. I think Gary Naismith is such a good manager. You've seen what he done with Stenhousemuir. I think he's been around the block. A lot of players like him when he's in the building. Generally, his full squad really respect him and like him as a person. So I think he'll get a lot out of Ayr United this season.
Has it surprised you with Gary Naismith that it's maybe taken him to now to get, a a role like Ayr United. He's sort of banded about. He's obviously been East Fife, Queen of the South, Edinburgh City, done well at Stenhousemuir.
Here's the second.
Oh, what a save.
Well done,
save.
Scott.
It is almost a chance, almost a goal, I should say, for St Mirren. Do you think he was maybe due a bigger opportunity sooner than now?
Andrew, as Cammy said earlier in the show, he was due that opportunity. I think Gary Naismith has suffered because Gary Naismith, as he was as a player, is quite low profile. He doesn't push his claims. He's not on the radio or the TV or the telly shouting about his achievements as a manager. He tries to do everything below the radar. And sometimes I think that doesn't really help your career path, if you know what I mean. Sometimes he does need to be a little bit more proactive in pushing himself. But he's got a chance now. David Smith, the chairman, made the move to bring him in the summer, just before Stenny played in the playoff final. He's made a lot of astute signings, boys that he knew from different clubs in League One, and it's worked well.
Is it over the line?
I don't think
so. Sosa Sully is claiming so. But of course, no goal line technology.
Yeah, corner comes in
Scottish
from
football.
St Mirren again, whips it right into that front post area. There's a little flick, and it almost just comes off his foot, and Scott Bain collapses onto it. It's difficult to see if it goes over the line or not.
Better angle here, Cammy.
Yeah, let's see. It's flicked on at the front post.
No, he's got it.
Yeah, it looks as if it was kept out by the Falkirk
St Mirren have
goalkeeper.
been so impressive again. That's Killian Phillips' shot there, which was an incredible save from Scott Bain. It should have been 2-0. And listen, St
Falkirk
Mirren
will be happy to get 1.
Absolutely, they're all over the place.
They need to try and change something.
Right, should we wrap this up, Roger, before we go back around the grounds for half-time scores?
The first half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrant drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
Can you name the 7 teams outside the top flight to have beaten Celtic or Rangers in the Scottish Cup? The last 7. They are Queen's Park, beat Rangers 1-0 at Ibrox. Hibernian, who were in the Championship when they beat Rangers in the 2016 final. Raith Rovers in the round of 16 in 2015. The teams that have beaten Celtic: Ross County in the semi-final in 2010, Clyde way back in 2006, Inverness Calais Thistle in the quarter-final in 2003, and Rangers when they were a Championship team.
Yeah, beat Celtic, of course, in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. So well done to the one person on the podium, who is Derek FM, top of the pile. Nobody else got it. So a tough start to things on the first half teaser. Of course, we will have a second half teaser coming up next, but we will go around the grounds because we do have some half times. Let's start at the Premiership, shall we? It's half time between Falkirk and St Mirren. David Friel.
Yeah, Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1. Andrew, entertaining stuff end to end. I think we've all said that St Mirren deserved to be in front. Craig McLeish's side have been really, really impressive. Killian Phillips got the goal. They played some lovely football, the likes of Paul Incio and Ryan Carr really standing out for them. You can see how Craig McLeish is trying to get St Mirren to play. They pressed high, they've passed the ball, and Falkirk have been really poor, to be perfectly honest with you. John McGlynn's side set such a high standard last season, they haven't come close to meeting that, but they have spun 3 really good chances, and I think John McGlynn will be happy they're still in the game, but I think he'll feel there's more to come in the second half from his team. As I was saying, St Mirren pushed from the start. Sully up front has been bright. He's always been looking to get in behind, but it was Falkirk who actually had the first chance of the game. Ethan Laidlaw down the left, he picked out Jack McMillan. His first touch was perfect, but he volleyed wide just when it looked as if he was certain to score. St Mirren were playing a better football. They started to create chances. Samuel Ramos, left-footed, playing off the right. He's really good passing range. He sent Killian Phillips clear. His close-range volley was saved by Scott Bain, but then came the opener in 11 minutes with Killian Phillips getting it. Ramos again involved, so was Chris Mockery. They played the ball back to Henry Fieldson, didn't even take a touch, just whipped across to the front post. Phillips timed his run and managed to nudge the ball past Scott Bain for the opener. As I said, Falkirk have been poor given what we've seen last season from them, but they have managed to create chances. Ryan Strain burst through, unselfishly squared for Finn Yates. He looked certain to score, but his shot was really, really weak, and Jacob Chapman saved easily. Ross McKeever should have connected with a cross. Falkirk threatened again. He then fired into the side net, and after some poor play from Alex Gogic. But you knew St Mirren were going to get more chances, and Scott Bain made an unbelievable save to deny Killian Phillips a second goal from the resulting corner. They almost scrambled in. The ball over the line, it just about stayed out. So St Mirren on top, Falkirk still in it, but not playing well, and I think it's a big half-time coming up for John McGlynn. Half-time, Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1.
It is also half time between Ayr United and Arbroath at Somerset Park. Gabriel Antoniazzi.
Yes, it's Ayr United 1, Arbroath 0 at the break. Ben Summers with the strike just before the interval. Looked set to be heading in for a stalemate, but Ayr did shade the chances and probably deserved it by the time the goal came around. Summers was inside the box on the left-hand side. A really nice finish across the goal into the bottom corner. The hosts had got in behind the visiting defence a few times early on, but not got a clean shot off. Dylan Watler, a real threat down the right, bombing on. He flashed a shot wide after a neat 1-2 just before half-time. Owen Sturton playing up top, central to all of Ayr's attacking plays. Not got his shooting boots on yet, but he looks very dangerous. Arbroath have been most threatening, probably from their in-swinging corners, right on top of the keeper every time. Scott Stewart should have done better with one where it's popped out to him about 10 yards out. He's volleyed it miles over. Arbroath did have a chance when Andrew Winter pulled the ball across the face. It fell at Ryan Dow's feet just a few yards out. A deflection from the defender, though, took it onto the post and out. The visitors definitely need a bit more going forward in the second half. And the sun is actually out now with the subs warming up. It is so cold at the back of this stand, as the boys have been saying. I've had my Bovril. I might need a second one in the second half. 1st of August might as well be Christmas Eve. Half time, Ayr 1, Arbroath 0.
And it's also half time at Capello. Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 0, no goals, but it's actually been a decent game. It took a while to get going, but both teams have played some nice football, been chances at both ends as the half went on. Thistle looked more likely to score, but I have to say Morton started the game well. They put pressure on the Thistle goal. Callum Sandlin's and Naaman Brophy threatening, but they couldn't create a clear-cut chance with all that pressure. Thistle, in the early stages, rarely near Morton's goal, but they began to come into the game. 12th minute, Gary Mackay-Stevens showed persistence in the byline. He kept the ball in, got the ball to his left foot, took it shot away. It was on target at the near post, but saved by Eli Harrison. First effort from Morton came 5 minutes later. It was really a clever attempt by midfielder Ian Wilson. He chased and he robbed Led Sosa 40 yards out from the Thistle goal. He saw McFarlane, the goalkeeper, off his line, and he chipped it from about 40 yards just over the bar with the keeper beaten. Brophy then made a yard on the edge of the box, tried to pass the ball into the net. He beat the goalkeeper just a yard wide, but from then on it was mostly Partick Thistle. 24 minutes, Mackay-Stephen for a Smith pass, really crisp pass into Mackay-Stephen. He checked onto his left foot, his curling shot with pace hit the bar, was clear. 30 minutes, Thistle hit the bar again, Smith again, crisp pass into the box. Logan cut the ball back from the byline, it bounced nicely, and the fellow fullback Paddy Redding, he struck it really sweetly from 20 yards, but it came off the bar and was cleared. O'Reilly then heading into the side net, should have done better from a deep Mackay-Stephen corner. In 40 minutes, Aidan Fitzpatrick, first real sighted goal for the winger. He shot narrowly over. I thought he should at least hit the target. Then Wilson Garrity came close for Morton stoppage time as he headed to the break, but Morton are still searching for that first goal of the season, 4.5 games in. In fact, a goal at either end would be nice just to shake this game up a wee bit. It's actually been a good game to watch so far. Half time at Capello, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 0.
We'll bring you the full half-time scores next.
The Ford Puma and the all-electric Ford Puma Jenny. Stylish, bold, and as driven as you are. And now, you could win one. Take a test drive in any Ford Puma to enter and be in with a chance of winning either the Ford Puma or all-electric Ford Puma Jenny. Search Win a Ford Puma to book online. Ready, set, Ford. To enter, take a test drive between the 1st of July and the 31st of August. T's and C's apply. 25 plus only. For details, see ford.co.uk.
I'm Professor Noel Fitzpatrick, and as a vet, I know you want the best care for your animal companion. Pet insurance can help, but you need to choose wisely as not all policies are the same. Pet Plan aim to pay claims quickly and without a fuss, and that's one reason why so many vets work with them.
Get your pet the best veterinary care. Save 10% on new policies when you insure at petplan.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Fits all media as an appointed representative of Pet Plan Limited.
Pre-order the all-new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 on EE. Unfold immersive entertainment with a screen made for movies. And get the edge with faster download speeds on 5G Plus on the UK's best network. Save £22 a month and save even more when you trade in. Pre-order today.
Saving on minimum 24-month 125GB Essentials plan. Eligibility, credit check and terms apply. Credit by EE Limited. 73% 5G Plus coverage. Verify at ee.creditcare/claims.
Because you want a pair for work and a pair for the weekend. Because you like to leave a pair in the car. Because you can't decide which pair you like best. Because when you buy a pair of prescription glasses or sunglasses, we'll give you another pair for half price. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible. Includes prescription glasses and sunglasses. Cheapest pair half price. T's and C's apply.
You'll never forget seeing your kids on the slopes for the very first time.
I'm doing it! Look, I'm doing it!
Get that feeling and so much more with Crystal Ski Holidays. With free child places and Crystal Childcare available, make magical memories together this winter. Choose from over 150 resorts and get everything sorted in one easy package. Find out more at crystalski.co.uk. APTA and Atoll protected.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Half-time score in the 1 Premiership 3 o'clock kick-off. It's Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1. There is a 5:30 game, which is Aberdeen against Hearts. Into the Championship, it's Ayr United 1, Arbroath 0, Inverness 0, Dunfermline 0, Livingston 0, Queen's Park 0, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 0, and Wraith Rovers 1, Stenhousemuir 1. Into League 1, Alloa 0, East Fife 0, Cove Rangers 0, Airdrieonians 0, East Kilbride 3, Queen of the South 1, Montrose 0, Hamilton 2, Peterhead 0, Ross County 0. And in League 2 is Annan Athletic 1, Spartans 0, Clyde 3, Stranraer 1, Edinburgh City 0, Elgin City 3, Forfar Athletic 1, Kelty Hearts 0, and Stirling Albion 1, Dumbarton 0. We'll get the second halfs underway next.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Gordon Dalziel, Cammy Bell and Roger Hanna here with me, Andrew Maclean. It is the first weekend of league football in Scotland since what a season it was last time out. But will the drama continue into this campaign? Rangers dropping points already last night. The 1 Premiership game on the go at 3 o'clock is just kicking off this second. It's Falkirk 0, St Mirren 1. A few goals down the divisions as those games are getting underway. So let's do this.
The second half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrant drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
This is a good one, Andrew. I like this to kick-start the Saturday shows for the season. In my career, I played for 12 different clubs and made 19 appearances for Scotland. I played with Jamie O'Hara, Sylvan Ebanks Blake and Martin Boyle. And I won 3 Scottish Premiership titles and 3 Scottish Cups. Lot of info.
Do you want to read that out again?
Yes, in my career I played for 12 different clubs and made 19 appearances for Scotland. I played with Jamie O'Hara, Sylvan Ebanks Blake and Martin Boyle. I won 3 Scottish Premiership titles and 3 Scottish Cups.
It is your classic second half Who Am I teaser, so you can get all that information at Clyde SSB on Twitter. You can see it all written out, and that's where you want to tweet us an answer. Simple as that. One answer, one tweet, quickest wins. And I can tell by the look on Gordon Dalziel's face that he has absolutely no idea whatsoever.
If you think I've absolutely no idea, you should see the man in the middle's face. He never got one right. But
what tends to happen with these is that Gordon Dalziel has absolutely no idea, and then all of a sudden it just pops into his head somehow.
After looking at his phone by any chance?
No, I didn't look at my phone.
No, I'm saying sometimes when it comes into your head, it's after you've had a little look at
It's either that or it's because Hugh sometimes folds the paper over where the answer is written on the bottom half of it, and you kind of look at it upside down.
I think you're doing me injustice, but it's a very difficult one.
I'm quite confident if Gordon Dalziel doesn't get it, Grant Ryder will.
Oh, Grant will be there, don't you worry.
Your new alter ego.
Already got a few on my Instagram. Good evening, Grant.
Right, you can see that at Clyde SSB. That's where to get your answers in. The ball is up St Mirren's end. Falkirk trying to make something happen early. They are 1-0 down at home to St Mirren in the opening 47 minutes of this Premiership season for them.
Yep, and I just wonder what John McGlynn would have said in there, because Falkirk were disappointing. I know there's been changes, I know there's been an overhaul in personnel at the Falkirk Stadium in the summer, Andrew, but they were poor by Falkirk standards. And John McGlynn and Paul Smith, I think, would have to have a few stern words, shall we say, at the first half-time break of the new Premiership season.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you'd have been happy It's always got to be difficult. This will be a close game, but St Mirren have certainly been the better side in the first half, so it's up to Falkirk to respond. But it's a great chance.
The ball across the face of goal. I think Esosa Sule was sliding in, trying to get a touch, but couldn't make the contact.
That would have put the game to bed for me. And I think, to be honest with you, you've got to be disappointed. I think you've got to do better there. You've got to score.
Not unlike the opportunity Falkirk missed in the first half with Ross McKeever. It was a similar ball, similar area of the pitch, and again the striker just couldn't quite work his feet out to get on the end of it, Gordon.
I'm just watching the St Mirren fans behind that goal after a nice little bit of play, and it was over hit pass that went out for a goal kick. But again, they're just applauding. I think they'll be delighted from what they've seen in that first half and the way they started the second half as well. It's only a couple of minutes in, but they'll be really excited. The way they're playing football, the way they're passing with confidence. Away from home as well, so yeah, positive signs from them. Falkirk need to do something different. They need to get themselves into this game because they've been so far off it.
Declan John has been a good performer for St Mirren over his time at the club, but Henry Filson with a good showing so far today. He'll be hoping he can really challenge him for a starting spot.
Very much. It was a great delivery for Killian Phillips, early goal for St Mirren, but he's done well defensively as well. He gets up and down the pitch, there's plenty of energy there, so he looks a good sign. And I know Declan John was going to be out for a number of weeks. I think Craig McLeish will be content that Henry Filson can come in and cover for him.
So a free kick in a deep position for Falkirk. There are two players standing over it. It'll be right-footed, curling over the top, and it will be no danger whatsoever. Out for a goal kick. I think maybe even out for... I think a free kick was given rather than a goal kick.
Yeah, it was just, for me that's a nothing ball. Just the back post, hoping that your centre half's going to get a header on it and try and pick up the second ball. But it was that man Phillips. He's been all over the pitch for St Mirren, getting the first goal, well, the only goal. Back there defending, doing a good job.
The first second half goal down the divisions. You'll be happy to hear Cammy and an Athletic 2-0 up against the Spartans. Charlie Maxwell with his second of the game.
Yeah, good young player, came through the youths at Annan, so positive signs. It's a really big result for Annan because we know Spartans will probably be up there towards the end of the season. They had a good season last year, so it's a positive start.
Here are St Mirren trying to get forward once again. The cross is just overhit, but I think some positive signs for Craig McLeish's side that they're going to continue in the vein that they left.
Yeah, there was Filson again that you mentioned a moment or two ago. Andrew getting forward on that left hand side, deep delivery, just too far ahead of Esio Sosula. But St Mirren they've carried on in the second half the way they played in the first half. They're in charge of this game, and I just wonder, Craig McLeish will want that second goal because he wouldn't like to think that all of this good play and getting the lead and dominating the game could be undone by one piece of Falkirk ingenuity.
And it'll be good for the St Mirren fans to see this against Premiership opposition, because there were some good performances in the Premier Sports Cup group stage generally. Obviously didn't end in the best result, but some decent performances, some goals scored. But if they can go out and prove that against Premiership opposition, then it just gives supporters that belief that maybe they can do something this season.
Listen to the guys' predictions in here and obviously around the grounds. They've got St Mirren down there battling relegation. And if you're going to stay in the league, these are the games you've got to go and win. You know, Celtic, Rangers and the other teams, they take care of itself. But if you're going to stay in this league, especially off to a good start, builds confidence, these are the games you need to go and win. And so far, 50 odd minutes on the clock, I think St Mirren have been excellent, but they've got to defend a corner here.
Yeah, the corner goes towards the back post, but Jacob Chapman, who is St Mirren's new goalkeeper for this season, gathers. Craig McLeish was talking about the fact that he was quite keen to get a permanent goalkeeper in. St Mirren have relied on loan goalkeepers for the last few seasons, but he really wanted someone that they could bring in, that they could develop, that could work with Jamie Langfield, and could really become an asset for them.
Yeah, and to be fair, they've had some good goalkeepers. Shamal George last season, Zach Hemming before that. They've had some good loan keepers, but you can understand why Craig McLeish wants a degree of a permanent goalkeeper there to work with Jamie Langfield. He's brought Chapman up from Huddersfield, and he's had quite an easy afternoon so far.
Falkirk into the box again. This time the cutback evades everyone. I think the offside flag has gone up. A new goalkeeper in between the sticks for Rangers last night. Cammy, what did you make of Ivar Pander's debut?
Yeah, listen, he did okay. Again, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. He comes with a decent pedigree, obviously coming up from Hull, who were successful last season to get into the top flight. Time will tell. Time will tell, because I think with a lot of the players that come into Rangers, it's all about the pressure, how they handle the whole club, the expectations. And as a goalkeeper, you need to be able to do that, because again, focus is on you. If you make a mistake, you need to be able to react to it. You can't afford to make many mistakes either. So yeah, time will tell. He did okay last night.
Absolutely no chance with the goal, Cammy.
No, not for me.
Terrific finish.
Yeah.
It was just such an awkward.
It was an awkward one.
Is that just you're just not expecting it as a goalkeeper, that it's quite tough to?
I don't think
judge
the goal scorer was expecting it. Never mind the goalkeeper.
So I think it's one of them ones, as you say, it's unexpected. I wouldn't point any fingers at the goalkeeper for it. I felt as if he did okay in the game, but he's going to have busier games than that he's going to have to produce big games, and especially the tough games that are coming up this week, European tie, and then obviously the game at Ibrox against Hibs that they need to win. They need to now win that league game.
Almost an own goal for Falkirk there. Melnick's with a header back towards his own goal. It was a cross into the box from Samuel Ramos, and it went just wide of the post, so it's out for a St Mirren corner. We did talk about the fact that they weren't very good from scoring from open play last season, Roger, which means that St Mirren were good at scoring from set pieces, so they'll be hoping that this can continue, on top of getting more goals from open play. The cross comes in and bands about a little bit, but ends up in the arms of Scott Bain after a calm defensive header.
Yeah, and listen, the longer this game goes on, you do wonder if John McGlynn will begin to think there's something in it for Falkirk. He does have players on the bench. Young, Ben Parkinson shone a few times last season. He could bring him on. There's some other newcomers on the bench as well. So he will know that they have been really second best to St Mirren in this game. But 10 minutes into the second half, it's still only 1-0, Andrew.
Fraser Wishart saying that he has seen one of the first use of the new rules to do with throw-ins at the game between Morton and Partick Thistle. Ethan Ingram taking too long to take a throw-in, and the throw-in was just given the opposite way.
Is it 5 seconds?
Would that have impacted Fraser's career if that rule had been in at the time he played, does?
He would have had to retire a lot earlier, because Fraser was a he seen the modern day game. He could have been brilliant with Dundee United. He could have shared the duties last night with Will Ferry. Fraser on the right hand side, Ferry on the left, just launching balls into the box.
It has been a goal for Livingston against Queen's Park. They're 1-0 up. Robbie Muirhead scoring for Livingston, of course under Glenn Whelan this season, after Marvin Bartley left towards the end of last campaign.
Yeah, and back down in the Championship, they will believe that they should be going straight back up. If they're going to do that, then you need to win games like a home game against Queen's Park. So Robbie Muirhead is a good player. I liked him last season. I thought he was a good weapon for both Davy Martindale and Marv later on in the season. He will do well in the Championship.
Yeah, good start for Livy. That's always going to be a difficult game. I think all the games in the Championship, especially early on, till all the sides settle down.
Because you can never really predict anything. We mentioned it earlier, the Ross County story from last season. Exactly. That when we
had them favourites.
When we were doing our predictions at this point last season, pretty much everyone either went for Ross County or St Johnstone to win the Championship. One of them won the league. One of them is now in League One.
Yeah, that just shows you how difficult the Championship is, and you can get sucked into that if you start losing games. Then all of a sudden you're thinking, right, it's okay, we're a decent enough team, we've got big players, we pay big money, we'll win the next game. It just doesn't work like that, because any of those teams can beat.
Yeah, I think it's like what we said at the top of the show with regards to Dundee United getting points on the board. A lot of these Championship teams will be feeling that, let's just get points on the board, because once you lose one game, then you lose the next one. It becomes difficult, because every single game every week is really tough to take any sort of points away from it. You need to be at your best to try and win games. So I think all the teams that are winning today in the Championship will be delighted to try and get them 3 points on the board early as possible.
Jacob Chapman gathering there. It was a ball to the back post for Falkirk, which they tried to head it down across goal, but it just went to Jacob Chapman, who was calm in possession. Had a couple of Falkirk players closing him down with the ball at his feet, but no trouble from him, just to pick out a gold jersey, which St Mirren have as their away kit this season.
I'm just again looking at St Mirren, how comfortable they are on the ball, the way they want to take it, pass through the forwards, right up the pitch, but they're willing to take it in all sorts of areas. So it's a completely different St Mirren from what we're used to in the past 3 or 4 seasons. They're wanting to play out, they're not as direct as they used to be, and it's working for them.
Can't be too far away from team news now between Aberdeen and Hearts. I think probably get that in the next few moments. That should be an intriguing clash, because of course Aberdeen under Stephen Robinson, this season. It's his first real chance to get his players in the door, try and properly implement his style of play against the Hearts team, who would have been disappointed over 2 legs against a very good Sturm Graz team, and have had so much to do over this summer in replacing the manager, the whole spine of their team.
It will be interesting when we hear the teams from Dave Galloway in a wee while, Andrew, because these two sides met on the first weekend. You're saying he's not there? Dave, text me.
He's on the bus.
I'm led to believe Dave is on a day out today. So Daz, calm down. But they met the Monday night at Tynecastle, the first weekend of last season, if you remember. Be fascinated to see how many changes there are in those two lineups, because Aberdeen were the reigning Scottish Cup holders. If you can be battered 2-0, they were battered 2-0 at Tynecastle, and Jimmy Tilleen never recovered from that. And Hearts won the game, and they really kicked on and had that fantastic season. They went so close to winning the league, so I'll be fascinated to see the two teams. But you know, I'm actually glad Dave's on a day out today, Grant, because he's had a very difficult summer. Have you heard the news from Dingwall?
No, what's going on?
Dave's beloved Wimpy
it's closed down,
is up for sale.
Maybe Dave's away finalising the details, signing the new contract.
Well, I wonder if part of that is due to the fact that Ross County for a long time were a Premiership team, which means that Dave Galloway was being sent to more Ross County games than he was. All of a sudden they go into the Championship, he's not going there so often, he's not buying Wimpy products as often as he would, and all of a sudden they're closing down.
Dave Galloway has killed Wimpy. Is that what you're saying?
Well, possibly.
Wimpy no more.
I do have an Aberdeen team for you. It is going to be Muller in goal. Is that going to be a back four? Chris Cadden straight in from the start after signing from Hibs. Mayo, Happ and Guinness Walker complete that back four. It's then going to be Lyons, Aramu, Yogan, Olasanya, Ronan and Nisbet.
That's a strong team, and it's also a much changed team from last season. They will be more direct than they were under Jimmy Tilleen. They will be more effective than they were under Jimmy Tilleen. It is a difficult start against Hearts. You know, Hearts, despite the European result and performance, Andy, they'll be strong. They'll be a decent team. So I'll be fascinated to see how this one shakes down. Have you seen the new Aberdeen goalkeeper, Muller?
No, I've not seen.
Good at corners.
Too much of him.
Come on now. You like that one, Gordon?
No.
Just looking at some of the players, I mean, there are players in there with Premiership experience. Brad Lyons, Chris Cadden, Connor Ronan coming in.
Lewis
is an interesting one. Yeah,
and Stephen Robinson's nothing the matter with it. Signing a lot of players that he knows, he's worked with in the past. You know, you look at the lads, he had Ronan, he had Olasanya at St Mirren, even going back to, Chris Cadden at Motherwell way back in the day. So he knows them, they know him and know his demands. So I think the Aberdeen supporters will have a more promising season.
St Mirren finish it. Must.
St Mirren coming so close to getting their second of the game, but Falkirk are able to come away with it.
Oh, will they?
Almost a carbon copy of the St Mirren goal, because given away by one of the Falkirk back four, I think it was Melnick's, the debutant, gave it away there. Sulla had to score, and if St Mirren don't win this game,
that is a massive chance of just giving up there.
Falkirk are straight up the other end and are trying to work their way into the box. I think it will go out for a goal kick. Some goals down the division. Stirling Albion have a second, 2-0 up against Dumbarton. Jordan Allen second of the game, and East Kilbride are going to get a comfortable victory over Queen of the South because they've got a fourth. It's 4-1. Finlay Gray on the score sheet this time, so that's a brilliant result for them on the opening day of this season.
Yeah, a couple for Finlay Gray, a couple for Craig McGuffey. An absolutely terrific start for the League 2 champions down there. This is their first ever game in the third tier of Scottish football. What a way to start.
He's done a great job there, Mick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Everybody looks at them and they're tagged with this, they spend a lot of money. They don't, they pay decent money, of course they do. But they've got a lot of young players there as well, and he's come up the divisions, and I think sometimes you just got to stop and recognise the job that he's done. He's been absolutely brilliant.
But whether they do spend money or not, whatever the budget is, it won't be the same budget as the full-time teams. You're into our division now against Queen of the South, as Cammy says, full-time. Ross County, full-time. Airdrie, full-time. Hamilton, full-time. It's going to be a complete change for East Kilbride, and
they'll do well, Roger.
I said that earlier on, but you need a good start, and they're getting that.
I think
good
they got
start.
the confidence. I know they lost the game against St Mirren, but they were in the lead. They played very well that night. They were away from home, and it gave them a lot of belief. St Mirren are really chapping at the door here to win this game.
Yeah, they are in once again, but this time it goes out for a St Mirren corner, so St Mirren are edging ever closer, as you say, to getting that goal to put them 2-0 up.
It feels like Falkirk are almost just hanging on at this moment in time. St Mirren have had 2 or 3 chances. Every time they go forward, they look as if they're going to threaten that Falkirk goal, and they just need that second one. I think if they get the second one, it's game over. But as long as it's 1-0, I think Falkirk are just hanging in there.
They can't deal with Killing Phillips going over to take the corner again, but they can't deal with his movement coming from deep, running up beyond the centre forward. That was Jake Young's first involvement after coming on for Sula. Tried to find Phillips, and it was almost that second goal.
I do have a Hearts team for you. So Bo Royce is straight in for his debut after Alexander Shvolov left to go to the Bundesliga. It will then be, I'm just trying to shape this up, it will be Jordi Altena as the right back. It's going to be Stuart Finlay, and interestingly I think going to be Ocean McEntee who plays at centre back after he's been playing in midfield for them, and it will be Harry Milne at left back. It will be 4 across the midfield. It will be Karjota, Spittle, Laurent Mendy. The new signing comes straight in, and it will also be Calvin Miller in midfield.
Yep.
The 2 up top, Claudio Braga and Amadou Bassi. So no Kizaridis, who's on the bench, and Sabri Guendouzi, who've been starting the last couple of games, he's also on the bench.
Well, listen, it's a much changed squad. We said that about both teams, you know. Starting the last season, Hearts had the likes of Shanklin, Devlin, Beningame, Halkett, Craig Gordon at that stage, you know, before Swallow arrived. So it has much changed. It's difficult to gauge Hearts off the back of those 2 performances against Sturm Graz, simply because we don't know how good Sturm Graz are. You know, they could be a side that goes on and does well in the Champions League. So this will be a good examination for Wouter Vranken of where Hearts are going to stand this season, because if they can go to Pittodrie and win against one of the sides that's going to be challenging them in the top 6, that would represent a good start.
What is not a good start is Edinburgh City's start to the campaign. Are now 4-0 down to Elgin City. Kyle Girvan with the 4th in that game.
At home, isn't it, as well?
Yep, Edinburgh City are at home.
Good. It's the new manager at Elgin. Is it Stefan Laird, I think, is taking the team this season? And that, you can't really, whatever league you're in, if you start with a 4-0 away win, Andrew, you can be pleased with your day's work.
Is the lad that scores all the goals, what's his name for Elgin, still playing?
Kane Hester.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's playing today or not.
Is he, I don't know if he'd retired or not, but he's a very good goal scorer, I've got to say.
So
where did Edinburgh City play? Just out
Edinburgh.
Is it? In the city?
Meadowbank.
Is it the old Meadowbank with the track where Meadowbank used to play?
Where you raced Alan Wells?
Yeah. That one?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that had gone. That was some race that day, I'll tell you. He was sweating.
It is, I mean, David Friel has just said it there. It is basically a sports centre, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he was sent there. One of the. I think you're the man to blame, Andrew.
I scored a few goals there, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played there. Meadowbank under Terry Christie. Remember Terry? The Dufflecoat Christie. Yeah. Meadowbank used to play there. Banged a few goals in there myself.
I've quite enjoyed
after racing Alan.
I've quite enjoyed on Twitter over the last few hours. In fact, Sky Sports after the game last night interviewed Tello Asgard. Seems to be quite a lot of people that weren't aware that Tello Asgard is actually from Liverpool. I've seen so many tweets of people saying why has he got a Scouse accent. He was born and brought up in Liverpool, but I think because he plays for Norway and is called Thelonious Asgard, a lot of people were expecting him to have a very Scandinavian accent, but I've seen a lot of question marks about why he's got a Scouse accent. It's quite funny.
I was one of those.
You genuinely had no idea? No, you've never heard him speak?
No, I thought he was Norwegian.
Well, he is.
He's not, but he's English. He's born and brought up in Liverpool. You're English. You're not Norwegian, man.
No, if a dog's born in a stable, it doesn't make it a horse.
I'm trying to work that one out, right? But if you're born in England, Liverpool, you're English.
Unless you're Norwegian.
You can also have, you can be dual nationality. You can have parents from elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm quite aware of that. But if I'm born in Motherwell, I'm not Swedish.
But you're also born in Motherwell and called Gordon DL. See if you were born called Grant Ryder. See if you were born in Motherwell and you were called Thelonious Asgard, then it may be clear to folk that you might have something in your ancestry that's not just 100% Scottish.
Look, you know what struck me last night? When he came on and started speaking like that, he sounds like an extra from Brookside.
Mm-hmm.
And people are surprised. He's been here a year.
Yeah, I know.
People have hardly heard his voice, which would lead you to believe he's very seldom done those post-match interviews in Sky, which would lead you to believe he's not really done very much for Rangers.
Derek McInnes seems to have quite a bit of faith in him and spoke highly of him after the game last night.
I thought he showed the best I've seen him since he came to Ibrox. I know he had but was it against Queen's Park, the free kick?
No, it was actually against Annan.
Annan.
He stuck it in top corner.
And you think, he's got terrific ability. Last night, I think he showed it. I think his overall play last night was very good indeed.
Derek McInnes has said that he feels he's taken a lot of confidence from going to the World Cup with Norway, training with some top players.
Yeah.
He's also really liked the fact that he only took 4 or 5 days off. He could have had a longer break. Rangers were allowing him to have a longer break after the World Cup, but he wanted to come back and he wanted to try and make an impact. And certainly last night is the type of performance that will give Derek McInnes some hope that he could have a good season.
I know they ultimately lost the game, but he scored a very good goal against a very good France side at the World Cup. So if you don't take confidence and a bit of self-belief from that, Andrew, there's something far wrong. So there was a bit of interest, a bit of Italian interest earlier in the summer in Tello Asgard off the back of that goal against France. And my understanding is that Derek McInnes wasn't keen to pursue that interest. He wants to work with Tello Asgard, and he was full of praise for him last night after his performance, after his goal. And I think Tello Asgard might have a bigger role to play for Rangers this season than he did last season.
I think it's a good move from Asgard, again getting offered that time off, but again he makes that decision as a new manager in the door. You want to go back and impress. If he's feeling physically absolutely fine, then he's got his still back in there. I thought he was excellent last night. He was really good. He was probably a top performer from Rangers' side. So yeah, he's going to have a big future ahead. He's still at Rangers if he can keep playing at that level and get better and better.
Falkirk making some changes now. Clearly John McGlynn is feeling that they need to roll the dice. There has been a goal between Peterhead and Ross County. It's Peterhead 0, Ross County 1, and I'll let you guess the goal scorer, Gordon DL.
Chance.
1-1.
We do have one of these in the Premiership.
Goal Flash with Archiplan Glasgow.
And it is Ben Parkinson that's equalised for Falkirk. 70 minutes on the clock. We said that St Mirren, if they didn't get that second goal, they may well live to regret it, and they're certainly regretting it now.
There are good substitutions and good substitutions. John McGlynn rolled the dice. On came Ethan Ross. On came Ben Parkinson. Deep free kick, headed down by Melnix into the path of Parkinson. He won't have an easier finish, and St Mirren will be furious with themselves.
Yeah, it's a big hammer blow goal because St Mirren have been on top the whole of the second half. They should have scored and put the game to bed. They didn't, and this is what happens. It allows them to open the door. It's a simple free kick into the box. They don't deal with the first contact, and there's Parkinson to put it in the back of it, and they're right back in the game now.
Yeah, if Falkirk went on to win this, if you're a St Mirren fan, you'd be thinking, we're checking for offside here,
Must
guys.
be checking for something, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I tried to have a look along the line. David Friel's twin just deep in concentration there, getting a bit of information through his ear. I'm just looking again. Just listen, running a mill free kick, just into the box. The one that comes off his arm.
See whether it comes off the arm. It looks quite high, doesn't it? And it's not the direct goal scorer, which I think plays a part in it. But I think, to me anyway, it looks quite high. It could be above the t-shirt line, as they call it, and it's a different case when it's the player that sets up the goal rather than the one that scores the goal.
Here we see it again.
The ball played over the top. It comes off. May actually come off his sort of elbow, slightly lower down than I initially said.
Down by his side.
Yeah.
So would that not be disallowed if you're playing that into the scorer's path with your arm?
Was there not a lot made by UEFA through the week about VAR that they were hopeful of? VAR would be used the way it was at the World Cup. It would be used sparingly and only used when there were real clear and obvious errors. Now, none of us saw this, so that means it's probably not a clear and obvious error. It'll be interesting to see how this is dealt with.
Yeah, it will be. Again, his arm's down by his side. It comes over the top of a St Mirren defender. He's very, very close in proximity to him. It clearly hits his elbow/arm and goes into the path of Parkinson, who puts in the back of net.
No,
the goal is he's going to the screen. Duncan Nicholson.
Could roll this off.
Yeah, I think he's going to the screen.
You can see the look on Melnick's face, who is the alleged guilty party. He cannot believe that this may be ruled out.
Is it offside?
No, it's not offside.
100%.
So it's a handball.
Whether it's a handball or not. And
I'm telling you, I think he's going to rule this.
Yes,
handball.
He's going to rule it out.
I mean, more often than not, when they go to the screen, they do stick or go with the decision that the VAR have suggested.
Yeah, I think
so he's coming back onto the pitch. Duncan Nicholson. He makes the signal, and the goal has been ruled out.
Wow!
So it's going to be a free kick to St Mirren. What do you make of that VAR intervention, Roger?
It took a while, but they will believe they got to the right decision. The ball has touched the arm of Dennis Melnick's, not intentionally. It is down by his side. If you look at it here, I mean, that is a natural position for the arm to be in. He's not the goal scorer, so listen, but it's one of those decisions. John McGlynn will feel aggrieved. Craig McLeish will feel the right decision has been made, but it's quite clear Duncan Nicholson can never have played for Falkirk.
Yeah, I think they've came to the right decision there. I've got to say, I think it's a bit unfortunate for Falkirk, but looking at that a few times, I think that's.
You think that's right? Okay.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I think it's one that's certainly up for debate because his arm is by his side. He's got a player who's just missed the header over, and you can actually see his motion to hit. He's trying to head the ball. He gets it a little bit wrong, misses it, it hits his arm, falls into place. I think there'll be one that'll be, as Roger said.
Are you going right or wrong decision?
Right.
You're taking almost as long as the VAR stoppage.
Listen, yes.
I thought you were going to have to phone a friend.
Yeah, I was thinking of it. I'm going right decision.
It was just giving you time to finish that pie that you're wiring into everybody can hear.
A couple of goals in quick succession for Hamilton. They are now 4-0 up away to Montrose. It was Stuart Bannigan who got the third. I don't think do we have the information. Stephen Hendry getting the fourth, and a fifth goal for East Kilbride against Queen of the South. Dara O'Connor has scored, so they are cruising to victory on the opening day, East Kilbride.
And what a day it will be. Sold out K Park, as we said earlier on. That will be a real boost for the belief of those East Kilbride players. But interesting to hear what Scott Allen says when he's in the show through the week about just, what it means to that team to come up, because in a league full of full-time teams, there's bound to be just a little seed of doubt at the back of your mind, how you're going to compete against them.
What a bit of belief that gives you. The first game full time and you almost blow them away. It's I think East Kilbride will do well this season. I really do.
What does that constitute? Is that, can they make the playoffs? Can they challenge for the title?
When I'm talking about it, I think they've got a chance of making the playoffs this season. I genuinely do. Listen, internally they'll be saying, look, it's about stability and staying up, but I really do think they've got the tools to go and challenge for the playoffs.
Liam Donnelly has come on the pitch for St Mirren. I think they also brought on Luke Thomas, who is a new signing. Was it yesterday?
I think it was just confirmed today. He came in, 300 games in the lower leagues in England for the likes of Ipswich Town, Bristol Rovers, I think. So he brings a bit of experience, as does Liam Donnelly. And I think that goal that was disallowed is probably enough just to spook Craig McLeish into a couple of more defensive changes, Andrew.
Yeah, because as the game is progressing, of course Falkirk had that goal ruled out, but it's just looking more and more like Falkirk dominance heading into the final stages of this game.
Yeah, they're throwing everything at it. They've nothing to lose now. It would be a poor start for Falkirk, especially at home.
Goal Flash with Archiplan Glasgow.
Well, I was getting news that Ayr were letting Arbroath back into the game a few moments ago. However, Ayr look to have killed the game off. 2-0 up, and it's Ross Taylor who races away on the break, slides the ball in the near post, and it looks as if Gary Naismith is going to get all 3 points in his first championship match in charge of Ayr.
Ross Taylor was a key man for Gary Naismith at Steny when he came up last season. His first signing when he took the job in the summer. He actually started on the bench today, but again, good substitution at a period in the game when it was beginning to look as if Arbroath were coming back into it, according to Gabs. That's a big goal. Yeah, great start for Ayr. They've had a good League Cup campaign, as
Roger quite rightly says, and you're at home today, got off to a good start, and I've got to say, old habits don't die slowly, do they? Freezer Wishart, Morton Thistle, 0-0, nothing to report. I was thinking there'd be a lot of goals down there today, especially Thistle, because Morton have had a terrible time. I think everybody looks at them going to be really struggling this year, and I fancied Partick to go down there and win that comfortably, but still a bit of time. What is it? 10 minutes for Mark to get a goal?
Just over that.
And Neil Lennon just signed his new contract, still 0-0 at Inverness.
A little bit of a stramash in the St Mirren box as they're trying to rob Falkirk of the ball. They eventually manage to get it away.
A really good block.
And Paul and Seo will come away with it. St Mirren try to break forward, and they've got space to run into. And what a turnaround this would be from one end to the other. Paul and Seo, who was the one that started the move, then was at the edge of the box but just stumbled as he tried to run onto it.
He's been brilliant in Seo again in that centre midfield. The way he gets forward, the way he controls the ball, passes, he's been brilliant. He's got real legs, hasn't he? He can get up and down the pitch. He's a big physical presence. He's been really good today.
15 minutes.
Really do better there, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they had options. I think it was just good covering towards the end. Should we have a look at that teaser, Roger? Just read it out again, see if we can get any more correct answers, if we have any already.
It's a second half teaser. Who am I? In my career, I played for 12 different clubs and made 19 appearances for Scotland. I played with Jamie O'Hara, Sylvan Ebanks-Blake and Martin Boyle, and I won 3 Premiership titles and 3 Scottish Cups.
Lots of different answers coming in, which means it is a tough question. Stuart Ibbotson has gone for Kenny Miller.
No, man of many clubs, but no, it's not Kenny.
Ryan Prosser and Lee Fox have both gone for Lee Griffiths.
No, it's not Lee either.
Semo says Craig Beattie.
No.
Andy says Christian Daly.
No, it's not Christian.
Billy says Kevin Thompson.
Nope.
Jamie Dock has gone for Alan Hutton.
Nope.
Paul Rankin says Alan Johnston.
No.
Lots of different answers.
Yeah, good spread of answers.
You still got no idea. A blank look from Gordon Dalziel. A blank look from
I went for Lee Griffiths actually, but it's been ruled out.
Some of these clues in there. Chat GPT yet? You should try and see what it comes up with.
Might give you the answer.
That's a lot to type in. I would need to talk to it, and I don't want to talk to it while I'm on air. So
yeah, I don't think we want to listen to that full discussion.
Conversation. But no, it's a very. Has people got it?
A couple of correct answers.
Yeah, a very difficult one to kick off the new season.
And it's difficult that you've not been able to cheat yet. So that does make it tougher for you.
Eyes are on you.
Do you know something? I'm disappointed in your attitude towards my cheating.
Livingston have a second against Queen's Park. Robbie Muirhead with his second of the game, so it's going to be a winning start, you'd think, for Livingston in the Championship this season, and for Glenn Whelan.
Yep. And that's the least they will expect if you're coming down from the Premiership and you're starting with a home game and you've aspirations to push for an immediate promotion, Andrew. These are the games you need to win, so these 2 goals from Robbie Muirhead will be crucial for Glenn Whelan.
Remember, we will be taking your calls in the final hour of the show, so if you've got anything on your mind, I'm sure you Rangers supporters have something to say about last night's 1-1 draw with Dundee United, so you can let us know. It will be the usual number a bit later on. Maybe you want to hear from you Dundee United fans, maybe you want to talk about today's action, maybe you'll be on your way home from Falkirk against St Mirren, want to talk to us about that, maybe you want to preview the game that's later on tonight. A couple of games tomorrow. What about Flag Day, Celtic against Dundee on Monday night? Maybe that's the game that you are looking forward to. You can let us know a bit later on, but I think we won't be short of talking points certainly after last night, Roger.
I wouldn't think so. Is producer John at the Falkirk game today, Andrew? Will he call in?
He is indeed, because I did see a message from him asking who handballed it for the goal that was ruled out.
Can he not see from the bar?
Apparently not, no.
But all joking apart, this would be a bad start to the season for Falkirk off the back of elimination from the Premier Sports Cup group stages. If you are losing at home on day one against a side that I think the 3 of us all said would probably finish in the bottom 2, that's a bad start.
And they've not looked the same side though. That's the concerning element for me. And you've got to give credit to St Mirren, the way they've approached it. We spoke about it. They've been in their faces. They've got their distances right. They've been aggressive. They've played their own game. But Falkirk just haven't seemed to have gotten any sort of rhythm within this game. I mean, the goal they got was from a set piece, and that's not like the Falkirk that we know.
There is going to be another change for St Mirren. Chris Mockery is going to make way. Quite a change for him in what he's doing this season. He was relegated with the Airdrieonians last season, wasn't he? And now in the Premiership, starting their first game of the campaign. And Roland Idowu, who is capable of a moment of magic. Roland Idowu just doesn't show it as consistently as I think Craig McLeish and Stephen Robinson prior to that would want.
Yeah, absolutely, and he will feel day one in the season should probably be starting, so he's maybe got a point to prove to Craig McLeish here in the last 8 minutes plus added time at Falkirk. The game will become stretched because John McGlynn with those changes is having to go a little bit more direct, he's having to throw more bodies at it, and that will create spaces that the likes of Roland Idowu will try to exploit at the other end on the break.
Yeah, do you see a goal coming? Any of you two guys?
I'm going to say no.
If it is, I would probably fancy the away team.
Yeah.
To wrap up, yeah. Falkirk, even their passing has been slack this afternoon. Everything about them. So if I see a goal, I think it is going to come for the Saints.
David Friel won't want a goal at this stage. The man who's doing a broadcast report for Super Scoreboard, the newspaper report for the Scottish Sun on Sunday. You don't want to start tearing up reports after 83 minutes.
You just had to, do you not?
You do have to, but it's very inconvenient, Grant.
Changes the whole tone of the piece.
How does it? If St Mirren
because the whole if Falkirk score and the result changes.
St Mirren, that's my 485th word.
We should maybe
there's no icing left in that cake. You've scraped and no other Cammy and I aren't getting any.
Another 15 words to put in. It's a 500, isn't it?
No, 750 and then a separate quotes piece and all these man-by-man ratings.
Has industry went up to 750?
Oh, yeah, for the big games it could be 900 does.
Oh, imagine counting all them.
I know.
Yeah, David Friel says he doesn't want any late goals. I think he says his partner and her mum are going to see an ABBA tribute tonight, so he's on the clock.
Fantastic.
Dear.
Down the local bowling club. Drinks cheap, quarter gills. Brilliant, can't beat it. ABBA, Dancing Queen.
Well, you know, on Monday night when we were... Was that a goal? No, just wide. On Monday night when Gordon Duncan put the Greatest Hits Radio on during Beat the Pundit, I was sat with the manager of Stenhouse Muir and Mamma Mia came on.
Nice.
At which point the manager of Stenhouse Muir started dancing in his chair.
Dancing in his chair.
It doesn't really work well on radio, but I managed to record it, so I'll show you the video soon.
Oh, big goal in the Championship.
Goal Flash with Archiplan Glasgow.
Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1, and it's Les Sosa with a finish from 8 yards out. Great work by Aidan Fitzpatrick, and that is a big goal for Partick Thistle, who could well be taking 3 points along the road with them.
Huge goal. That will be a fixture that Mark and Alec will have looked at, and no disrespect to Morton, Thistle will have looked at that as a 3-pointer on the road and a good start to the season. They've left it late, but you can imagine the pressure was beginning to build for them at Capello. They've had chances. Gary Mackay-Stevens hit the crossbar, and now they've got the breakthrough, and there will be a great deal of relief in that Thistle dugout.
Yeah, it's a massive goal, especially when you score so late on. It'll just be about seeing it out now, because as Roger said, chances you can get frustrated quite easily when you've had a number of chances, and also you approach that game thinking that you can take 3 points from it, but they'll just be delighted because it's that old one again. Get 3 points on the board, move on.
Oh, St Mirren are now through. Roland Idowu, it's a fantastic cut across for Killian Phillips, and it will roll into the back of the net.
Goal Flash with Archiplan Glasgow.
Killian Phillips takes his top off in celebration right in front of the St Mirren supporters, and it is going to be all 3 points for Craig McLeish. Falkirk 0, St Mirren 2, and a goal on the breakaway.
Yeah, and a perfect start for Killian Phillips. He has been the best player on the pitch this afternoon. As we said earlier on, Falkirk just couldn't handle him. He's running from deep beyond that front three, and we said 5 minutes ago, John McGlynn was just having to throw extra resources at it. We knew there would be space on the break, and there was a shot by Craig Sybil, charged down. Roland Idowu, the substitute, does really well. He carries the ball really well from his own half, over halfway, holds off the challenge, and then as the poise just to slip it to Killian Phillips, there's a deflection and it just takes it out with the hands of Scott Bain. 2-0 St Mirren, game over.
That just sums up Falkirk's day. The deflection, Scott Bain scrambling but can't keep the ball out the net. I said earlier, if there was going to be another goal, I was going for the visitors, and they've tucked this game away. 3 points in the bag. Terrific start for them. I'm going to change my prediction. I'm not so even waiting. St Johnstone and Falkirk are at 2 down the...
No, brilliant again from Ado, because he's under so much pressure. He's got a defender on his back trying to take the ball. He still carries it and he releases it to Phillips right at the right time. Phillips is very fortunate with the deflection, but it's fully deserved from St Mirren. They've been by far the better team today.
Well, Falkirk get the ball into the box, gathered by Jacob Chapman. In case there is any late drama, should we round this off?
The second half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrants drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
The answer to the second half teaser. Who am I? In my career, I played for 12 different clubs and made 19 appearances for Scotland. I played with Jamie O'Hara, Sylvan Ebanks Blake and Martin Boyle, and I won 3 Scottish Premiership titles and 3 Scottish Cups. I am Rob Douglas.
It was a tough one, so tough that there were only 2 names on the podium. In second place it was Lee Fox, but in first place it was, and you were looking for a new alter ego name. It was Alex the Cider Man. That was in first place.
Rab Douglas. I was speaking to Rab in the summer as well, never even told me.
There you go.
He never even told you all that information, just neatly packed.
Dundee, played with Jamie O'Hara at Millwall. Remember he spelled at Millwall?
No.
And he played with Sylvan Ebanks Blake at Plymouth Argyle.
And he played for 12 clubs, Big Rab.
12 clubs, 19 caps.
I didn't think he'd 19 caps either, so well done. I've never got that. If I got that, I would have been cheating.
There we go. It's Rabbit Douglas. A couple of goals down the divisions. Oh, a couple of goals for the Spartans down the divisions in the 84th and 88th minute. So it's Annan Athletic 2, Spartans 2, James Cragen with the second of those. And they've gone from 2-0 up to 2-2. Could well now be dropping points.
Well, I'm delighted for the Spartans. I'm looking at that championship. All the favourites seem to be winning. Apart from Neil Lennon up at Inverness. It's difficult to go Inverness, isn't it? You just wonder if they've got a goal in them.
Inverness off such a brilliant season last season as well, so it's a difficult journey to have, and they've signed a few decent players, I think. Inverness up there.
Don't tell me about Inverness being a difficult journey.
Well, indeed.
Police escorts, everything.
Well, I was going to say at least Lenny.
And that was the Friday night at Johnny Fox's.
Well, this game kicked off early, so it's already full time at Somerset Park between Ayr United and Arbroath. Gabriel Antoniazzi.
Yes, Ayr United 2, Arbroath 0, full time here. Ben Summers and Ross Taylor with the goals that gives the host the ideal start to the season and maintains Gary Naismith's perfect start to life down at Somerset Park. The match started in tight fashion as perhaps expected. The first of the campaign, it looked to be heading for a stalemate at the interval until Summers found himself inside the box on the left. A nice finish across the goal into the bottom corner. And you have to say that Ayr had shaded it in the first half and probably deserved to be in front. The visitors only had one real opportunity of note in the first 45. So when Andrew Winter pulled the ball across the face and it fell at Ryan Dow's feet just a few yards out, the deflection from the defender took it onto the post and out. In the second period, the game seemed to meander. There was much battling but not much quality. Ayr didn't really offer anything going forward, and it perhaps allowed Arbroath back into the game, and the momentum did shift in their favour. Then there was a huge save from Harry Stone in the Ayr goal. He'll be hard pushed to make a better one all campaign. Sean Mackey in swing corner for Arbroath. O'Brien connected with it from just a few yards out. Looked like it was going in, but met by a strong arm of Stone. Then against the run of play, Ayr got their second. Taylor sent him behind on the break. He used his pace to break free, tucked it in the near post past Aidan McAdams. Arbroath will feel they could have capitalised when they were in control, but they didn't create enough today, Andrew, to be honest. Plenty of positives for Ayr, who have now won 5 out of 5. Dylan Wattrett and Owen Sturton linking up well throughout the game as well. Keep an eye on them this campaign. They'll hope that the playoffs are a realistic target this season. Full time here, it's Ayr United 2, Arbroath 0.
Yeah, good win for Ayr United. And what about that wager we were talking about between Cammy Bell and Gordon Dalziel? Because Cammy, of course, a big Annan man, comes from down that way. He was saying that Annan were going to finish above the Spartans this season, the two of them playing against each other. Gordon Dalziel was saying that the Spartans are going to finish above Annan this season. Annan going 2-0 up, conceded 2 late goals for 2-2, and they've just scored a third. It's Annan Athletic 2, the Spartans 3, and it's Mark McNulty with the third.
Oh,
what a turnaround.
Yeah, I better get that second dinner voucher ready.
You better get double shifts on.
Another goal for Elgin City
My
away at
goodness,
Edinburgh
wow.
City, 5-0. Jack McIver
So that's
scoring.
East Kilbride 5-1 against Queens. Hamilton are 5-0 up away from home against Montrose, and then Elgin 5 against Edinburgh City. So some big scorelines there.
What a way to kick off the campaign for all those teams. And the opposite side of it, not great. First game of the season, conceding 5 goals for the teams at the other end of it, as Falkirk have a corner played into the box, but St Mirren defend well and push them all the way back to the halfway line. So looks with, what are we, 93 minutes on the clock there, only 4 minutes added, so less than a minute to go. St Mirren's 3 points are safe, and it's going to be a really good start to the campaign for St Mirren. Will they be through once again? I think this may be flagged for offside, but they'll get the chance to go into the box with Roland Dodowu, but his shot is skewed wide of the mark. Still waiting for full time between Morton and Partick Thistle. Partick Thistle still 1-0 up. That let Sosa goal in the final 10 minutes of the game. It's into stoppage time in that match, so any late drama there, we'll see if there is any. Fraser Wishart can tell us.
Big win this for St Mirren, home to St Johnstone next Saturday, so they have an opportunity to build on this. And you know yourself, you can get a bit of momentum at the start of the season. Jim Goodwin touched upon it with that opening point. If St Mirren can get 3 today, as they will, and building it next week, what a start that would be for Craig McLeish.
Yeah, well, it has just gone full time at the Falkirk Stadium. David Friel.
Yeah, Andrew, full time, Falkirk 0, St Mirren 2. As Roger says, what a start, what a perfect start that was for St Mirren. It was only 3 PM Premiership kick-off on Saturday. We get plenty of entertainment, great game, and St Mirren off to a perfect start. Killian Phillips off to a perfect start as well, with a double against a Falkirk team who are going to have a long season on this evidence. I think it was end-to-end stuff, plenty of chances. We even get a huge VAR call just to show that Scottish football is officially back. It took a while. I think they came to the right decision, but Craig McLeish down there just now, he's a happy man, and no wonder. I think his side were excellent. They did give up some chances, and Falkirk will be looking at that, but I think St Mirren fully deserved to win the game, and they'll be going ahead now with a lot of optimism. Falkirk, the first chance, Ethan Laidlaw picked out Jack McMillan in the box. He got his finish all along. Phillips sent a close range volley saved by Scott Bain before he claimed the opener in 11 minutes. Samuel Ramos and Chris Mockery were involved before Henry Filson whipped in a perfect cross on the midfielder. Phillips timed his run well, steered the ball past Scott Bain for the opener. Falkirk really struggling to create chances, but then they get a brilliant one. Ryan Strain burst through, he squared for Finn Yates. His finish was awful, and Jacob Chapman saved easily. Ross McKeer had a couple of chances for Falkirk. He should have taken at least one. Bain then denied Phillips a second before the break, and St Mirren's first chance of the second half surely should have made it 2-0 immediately after half time. He couldn't convert a cross for that chance, and he then missed an even better one after a Dennis Melnick's mistakes. Surely was clean through, but Bain made another brilliant save, and Phillips couldn't convert the rebound. Falkirk sub Ben Parkinson thought he had levelled with his first touch in 70 minutes, just about 30 seconds after coming on. Melnick said the knockdown. Parkinson nudged it over the line. Falkirk fans celebrated wildly, the players celebrated wildly, but VAR Don Robertson spotted something. He advised ref Duncan Nicholson to go and take a look after a lengthy pause. The whistler went to the screen and then ruled that Melnick had indeed used his arm. It was still 1-0 at that point. St Mirren made the most of that escape. Roland Dodowu led a breakaway, and Killian Phillips finished it off with the aid of a deflection. A deserved win for St Mirren. They are feeling really good about themselves, but a long season ahead for Falkirk maybe. Full time, Falkirk 0, St Mirren 2.
So we're still waiting on full time between Morton and Partick Thistle. It's getting worse for Annan, Cammy, because they are now 4-2 down. They were 2-0 up in the 84th minute, and since then have conceded 4 goals. Mark McNulty scoring in the 90th and 96th minute.
That is a collapse. That's
a big
incredible.
Collapse.
6 minutes to go in your 90 and you lose 4 goals. It's just incredible.
Yeah, not the best, especially when you're thinking 3 points in the bag with 6-7 minutes to go, and all of a sudden you're now looking at being under pressure, losing 4 goals. been there. I know how it feels. So you just need to dust yourself down and look towards next week's defeat.
There are the emotions of a football. There are the emotions of a football fan. Producer John, big Falkirk fan, has just messaged in to say, going to be a long season.
Oh,
yeah. All the positivity last campaign,
it's going to be
all of a sudden.
It's going to be even longer for the fella that sits next to him.
Full time at Capello between Morton and Partick Thistle. Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1. Job done by the Jags. Second half wasn't as good as the first. The tempo dropped a bit, but Thistle still looked more likely to score, but we feared a 0-0 draw. Up stepped 82 minutes midfielder Soanello Lit Souza, and he grabbed the winner. It was deserved because Thistle hit the woodwork 3 times in the 90 minutes. Chances at both ends in an enjoyable first half. Ian Wilson came close from what a clever chip over the goalkeeper McFarlane from 40 yards. The keeper was beaten, it was just over the bar. Brophy and Garrity also decent chances. Thistle hit the bar twice. Mackay Stephen from 12 yards and Redding from 20 with really good fierce left foot shots, but into the second half it was goalless. Early chance for Thistle. Lit Souza drove into the box, space to shoot, and somehow on the angle, I don't know what he did, but he mishit his shot and ended up in the side net when he should really have scored. Smith then tested Harrison from 20 yards as Thistle continued to dominate as he had done at the end of the first. But in general, not much happening. Plenty of substitutions to try and get the goal. Sub Ewan Henderson had a really good run. His left foot shot low. A really good save low to his left by Harrison in front of that corner. Oisin Smith had a chance. He shot across the face of goal. Alex Salmon got his head to the ball but couldn't get it on target. Then Michael O'Halloran, he showed glimpses of old. A great run from inside his own half. He touched the ball past Redding. His pace took him into the box. Cross shot cleared by Cale Lockwood. Then came the goal. 82 minutes. Thistle got it. Fitzpatrick really was brilliant. Ran from inside his own half. He changed from the wing to play in the number 10 position. He got the ball. He moved from centre to left. His pace took him by about 3 players to the byline. He cut the ball back. Alex Samuel's shot hit fairly and it fell to Soanella Lit Souza, who cleverly hooked the ball into the empty net from 8 yards. It could be worse for Morton, who stoppage time sub Seb Drodds cut inside from the right hand side. His left foot shot hit the post with the goalkeeper beaten. I think Morton will maybe feel they could have grabbed a point, but Thistle did deserve to win, and that's now 5 games this season and not 1 goal for Greenock Morton. 1,380 Thistle fans cheering to my left. The players in front of them are absolutely delighted. Partick Thistle got up the road and up the M8 with 3 points in the bag. Full time at Capello, Morton 0, Partick Thistle 1.
Yeah, full time at Capello, and it is full time around the grounds. Those 3 o'clock kick-off. So now it is over to you. 0141 951 1025. We are taking your calls all the way through until 6 o'clock. Maybe you want to look back on that Dundee United Rangers game last night. It's your first opportunity, Rangers fans, to let us know what you thought of that game, what you thought of those drop points for the 4th time in opening matches across the last 4 seasons. What concerns you, if there were concerns, what work needs to be done going forward, because Derek McInnes was saying that they still have plenty of work to do in the transfer window. Has it changed your optimism about the season at all, or are you still feeling okay? 0141 951 1025. Maybe you want to look at it from a Dundee United perspective. Maybe you want to look ahead to Aberdeen against Hearts, which is the 5:30 kick-off today. A couple of Premiership games tomorrow to preview, and of course Celtic against Dundee, flag night on Monday, so we'll preview that as well. Lots of games down the division, so maybe you're on your way back from one of those. You've seen your team in the league for the first time this campaign. You can let us know exactly how you're feeling about the season ahead, what you saw from those performances, maybe some transfer news chucked in there as well. 0141 951 1025, and we will speak to you next.
Because you want a pair for work and a pair for the weekend. Because you like to leave a pair in the car. Because you can't decide which pair you like best. Because when you buy a pair of prescription glasses or sunglasses, we'll give you another pair for half price. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible. Includes prescription glasses and sunglasses. Cheapest pair half price. T's and C's apply.
Chase is the digital bank that gives you 2% cash back on your groceries.
Like on a weekend treat?
Yep.
How about a new TV?
Is it from a supermarket?
It is.
Then of course. And with all that cash back, you could turn it into...
some new pillows.
You bet. Enjoy 2% cash back on debit or credit card spending on groceries, restaurants, everyday transport and fuel. Search Chase Bank. 18 plus UK residents. Chase current and saver accounts required. Maximum £20 per month. Eligibility, qualification, exceptions and T's and C's apply.
Because you want a pair for work and a pair for the weekend. Because you like to leave a pair in the car. Because you can't decide which pair you like best. Because when you buy a pair of prescription glasses or sunglasses, we'll give you another pair for half price. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible. Includes prescription glasses and sunglasses. Cheapest pair half price. T's and C's apply.
Pre-order the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8. Unfold immersive entertainment and get faster downloads with 5G Plus on EE, the UK's best network, for only £54 a month. Pre-order now. Increases to £56.50 March 2027, then £59 March 2028.
Airtime plan and 48-month device credit agreement required. Terms and credit check apply. Credit by EE Limited. 73% 5G Plus coverage. Verify at ee.credituk/claims.
The Ford Puma and the all-electric Ford Puma Gen E. Stylish, bold, and as driven as you are. And now, you could win one. Take a test drive in any Ford Puma to enter and be in with a chance of winning either the Ford Puma or all-electric Ford Puma Gen E. Search Win a Ford Puma to book online. Ready, set, Ford. To enter, take a test drive between the 1st of July and the 31st of August. T's and C's apply. 25 plus only. For details, see ford.co.uk.
Chase is the digital bank that gives you 2% cash back on your groceries.
Like on a weekend treat?
Yep.
How about a new TV?
Is it from a supermarket?
It is.
Then of course. And with all that cash back, you could turn it into...
some new pillows.
Exactly. Enjoy 2% cash back on debit or credit card spending on groceries, restaurants, everyday transport and fuel. Search Chase Bank. 18 plus UK residents. Chase current and saver accounts required. Maximum £20 per month. Eligibility, qualification, exceptions and T's and C's apply.
It's Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard's open line 0141 951 1025.
0141 951 1025 on the phones. We have seen the 3 o'clock kickoffs today, the first Saturday afternoon of Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard of the new season. Gordon Dalziel, Cammy Bell and Roger Hannah here with me, Andrew Maclean, and we are going to reflect on what we've seen today. We're going to look back on Dundee United 1, Rangers 1 from last night. We're going to look ahead because there are still 4 Premiership games to come this weekend. The first of those is this evening, a 5:30 kickoff between Aberdeen and Hearts. 2 more games tomorrow, and then Celtic against Dundee on Monday night. Roger, just the one Premiership game today for us to look at, and it is a good win for St Mirren, 2-0 win over Falkirk.
Yeah, and it's been a difficult week for Craig McLeish. You know, they lost at home to Dunfermline last Sunday. They missed the chance to be seeded in the Premier Sports Cup draw. They were then drawn away to Rangers at Ibrox. Craig McLeish made his controversial remarks, shall we say, about the referee Sean Murdoch. He's landed a notice of complaint from the SFA over those remarks. He's probably facing a touchline ban. He's had to listen to a lot of people, including the 3 of us, suggest that St Mirren will finish in the bottom 2 this season, and the response is a well-deserved 2-0 win at Falkirk. I would suggest, Cammy, that I think a lot of the interest in the phone-in across the next hour will be looking back on the events of Tannadice last night. Rangers going into it, Derek McInnes' first competitive game in charge of the club, being unable to come out with all 3 points.
Yeah, disappointing night for Rangers. Again, you want to get off to that fast start, and with so many changes over the summer, a lot of positivity around what's happened. New manager coming in, a number of new players coming into the group, and you don't get off to that start that you need to as a Rangers player and as a club, that you need to get 3 points. It's a difficult venue to go to, Tannadice. It's always a hard game, but you need to start the season well. They didn't do that. First half was really poor. They were a little bit better in second, but Derek McInnes will be demanding more from his players, and certainly within the result, they need to start winning games of football.
0141 951 1025. You can let us know whether you want to reflect, whether you want to look ahead. Everything is fine with us. Thomas is a Rangers fan in Barrhead. Up first, Thomas, what did you make of the game last night?
Hello, Andrew. What I made of the game last night was nothing less than what I expected. Many of my Rangers supporting friends for several years now have been desperate to get Derek McInnes to, in inverted commas, come home, although he only played 40-odd games for us. I've seen McInnes' team performances over the years, and I just don't get the hype about this manager. In 19 years, he's won 1 League Cup and a penalty shootout v Ross County. Even Callum Davidson at St Johnstone has won more trophies. last season, Rangers and Celtic were both pretty rotten, although Celtic still won the league. And that's how Hearts flattered to deceive. I felt they looked good because Rangers and Celtic were so bad. That is going to be typical of what a McInnes team performance will be. I was not in favour of him coming at all. I didn't see what the rush was to appoint him. Why did Rangers not consider their options? And I do fear that although we'll win more games than we'll lose, I think the football will be quite sore in the eyes.
I mean, McInnes still broke records at Hearts last season, didn't he, in terms of Hearts' total points record, and I think maybe a points record outside of old firm teams when it came to, 3 points for a win. So it was still a very good season for Hearts, but Thomas is looking back on Derek McInnes' track record as a whole, doesn't think he's the right man. And this doesn't stem just from last night, Thomas. You think that, Derek McInnes was not the right choice all along, no?
No, I know that my Rangers supporting friends, and I think the majority of Rangers fans have been keen for Derek McInnes to come. But even, not because he knocked us back all those years ago, even at that time I wasn't keen for him to come because, again, I felt his track record left a lot to be desired. He still had a lot to prove. All these years later, it's still the same. It's the same type of football he's played at every club, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, and last season at Hearts. Although, yes, the Hearts did do well. Again, they were knocked out of cup competitions early by low league opposition as well, on at least one of the occasions. And again, Celtic lost 8 games, yet still won the league. Rangers had the bad start we had under Russell Martin. So I think
there's also just a huge financial disparity between Celtic and Rangers and Hearts, so Derek McInnes had a lot to do to try and overcome that last season. But Thomas is saying that the style of play, he doesn't think Thomas Derek McInnes had the track record.
I mean, Derek's won Manager of the Year with 3 different teams. He had Aberdeen regularly in second place when Rangers were down the divisions. He won the League Cup. Aberdeen haven't done anything like that since he left, other than that one trophy with Jimmy Tillane. League-wise, he's never done anything like it. He took Kilmarnock from the Championship into Europe. He took Hearts to within 3 minutes of their first league title in 66 years. So when Rangers and Jim Gillespie looked to go and get Derek McInnes, I don't think anyone was surprised. Thomas is saying his friends weren't surprised. It does seem the obvious appointment. It can't be expected, no one could be expected to turn Rangers around inside 90 minutes. It was a disappointing performance. We spoke about it in the show earlier on. A lot of the players who underachieved last season looked as if they were going to underachieve again last night. So Derek made the point last night that the squad will look much different come the 3rd of September than it does on the 31st of July as it was last night. He needs players in. He needs more players in. And it's difficult. You're asking us to do the predictions. It's difficult to do predictions when we don't actually know which players will be playing for these teams come the 3rd of December.
I think the big factor as well, Roger, going for Derek McInnes was the fact that he's a very experienced manager that knows the leagues. He knows the Scottish game. We've seen Rangers appoint foreign managers and it's just been one sort of a failure after another. People that not really managed in Scotland. Derek, yes, great season with Hearts. Look, Derek will know the job that he's got ahead of him. I was not impressed with Rangers last night at all. I didn't think that. I looked at a Rangers team thinking, oh, they've really changed. There's a different style to them, different attitude, different players and everything like that. But it was the same old Rangers to me. I think they had a wee spell in the second half after Derek made the couple of substitutions that was positive. Asgard was positive. But there was more for me watching that last night. And I know it's the beginning of the season, I get it, first game. There was more negatives than there were positives.
Thomas, the guys mentioned that Derek McInnes said that the squad will look very different. He's keen to get more new players through the door. Do you think that will make much of a difference, or you're not thinking it will?
I'm just fearful of the style of football that Derek plays. And I heard what Cammy was saying about Aberdeen regularly finish second. Got to remember, that was at a time when there was no Rangers, Hibs, Hearts or Dundee United in the Premier League. And at one time he was up against Ronnie Delia's Celtic. Although I'm not decrying Celtic to win the league, it wasn't the best Celtic team at the time under Ronnie Delia. So at that time you had, as I said, St Johnstone were winning trophies, as well as some other teams. But Derek just didn't win any trophies apart from that penalty shootout against Ross County. And it's his style of play with these teams that I think he will get extra players in. I still think come Christmas we're going to be well off the pace.
But whether people like Derek McInnes' style of play or not, how much do you think it really matters, Cammy, how easy it is on the eye or how easy it's not on the eye? Is it not just really for Rangers at this point? If Celtic are in a spell of dominance, which they have been for a long time now, do Rangers fans care too much about the style of play, or is it more about just having a manager that's going to win games and win league titles, and that's really the remit for Derek McInnes?
Yeah, for this first season, for me, a lot of Rangers fans, I'll just take winning trophies. They've got to start winning trophies again. Derek McInnes came into the building knowing Rangers, knowing Scottish football. He knows the expectations. He's expected to win trophies. Listen, the style of play for me this first season is irrelevant. They just need to win trophies. But again, last night was a warning sign that if you don't have an identity, if you don't have players playing at the top of their game, you're going to find it hard and you're going to drop points. And that's what they did last night. They didn't really have a certain style of play last night, but also their top players didn't perform to what they can, and it makes it difficult evening for them, and they don't get what they went for. They didn't get the 3 points this season. For me, I think Rangers is just all about winning games of football. The style of play is irrelevant for me as long as they're winning games. But listen, see, when you don't win games, that's when style of play becomes questionable. That's when people start moaning, you're not winning games, but what is your style of play?
But the thing is, Cammy, they were up against a team last night that if you're doing predictions now, I don't think MD would have Dundee United finished in the first 4th, 5th.
Agree.
You know, so it was a test for it, and all credit to Jim Goodwin. I thought the style of play, especially first half, were brilliant. I liked watching Dundee United. I think they've improved under Jim with that situation. But if you're Rangers and you are going to make a statement, you brought in a new manager, new players, they've got the big squad, they pay money. I think you've got to hit the ground running, and they certainly didn't look like that last night to me.
In terms of individual performances, Thomas, was there anything that concerned you? Anything that gave you positive signs?
The positive sign that stuck out like a sore thumb, I thought, was Asgard. Last season, he disappointed and flattered to deceiving occasions. But the annoying thing about Asgard was that, and he showed that in the World Cup, there is a good football player in there, a good football brain with a skill, and he showed that last night. That was the one positive I took from the game. The negative is Diamandis still getting a game, and Gassama getting a start as well when you had Finlay Curtis sitting on the bench. I just didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I think the wide areas is something that is going to be a big talking point for Rangers supporters, because Derek McInnes has said himself he needs players in. That seems to be the key area. You just wonder how many need to come in those wide areas, whether it's 2, whether it's 3. How many would you expect to come in?
Listen, there'll be a lot of movement at Rangers. I would imagine Nico Raskin would go out for a large sum of money. So is all that money reinvested back in? They may need a central defender. I know McCann just come in through the week, but Ben Godfrey went off with that hamstring injury last night. I'm not sure if McCann can get into Poland. It was a visa issue, I think, with him. Does John Suter have to come back into the squad? Is there going to be a signing round the corner for Rangers in that department? I still think they need left back cover if anything happens to two Romans, and at least one winger, possibly 2. So I think there'll be movement in and out at Rangers over the next month.
I'd be looking at least 2. I think if you've got the firepower that Rangers brought Shankland in, best goal scorer in Scotland, brought him in, you've got to give them the ammunition. And and the way Derek plays, he plays with wide players. So you've got to have a bit of quality. Rangers, apart from young Finlay Curtis, and I agree with Thomas, sitting a bit, I would have played him all day long in front of Gassama. I think he offers nothing for me. He needs to get quality in the wide areas for me.
Are there any names in particular, Thomas, that you'd like to see come in?
Well, Tierney is the one that I would love to have seen come in, but obviously that's out with Rangers control, in as much as Besiktas is willing to sell him, because they'll be Mo Salah, I think it is, and does Tierney himself want to come back to Rangers? Because I was reading that there's a wee bit of debate as to whether that would be his first choice. Obviously, I'd love to see Mikey Moore coming back again, out with Rangers control. That's up to Spurs, and it's up to the boy himself, and again he's getting offers from Germany. So the players I'd like to see are not easily available as such. other than that, yes, we do need a winger to give Curtis a wee bit of support. And that boy Magoma that we had on the trial and a loan last season, the left back, he was only 19, and I thought he played well until Rumans came and took over that position. And again, if that boy was available at a reasonable fee, then he would be one that would be a good addition for covering the left back position.
I suppose it's just how Rangers look at the recruitment side of things. You know, Thomas is looking at players that have previously been at the club, but many of them have been part of teams that haven't won things and maybe haven't just been good enough to beat Celtic or even finish above Hearts last season. You wonder if Rangers then go in a different direction, although Václav Černy's certainly been linked.
Yeah, Černy's the one that, for me, I liked Černy when he was at Rangers. I thought he definitely had something. He was very direct, but also he worked hard. I think that if he'd spent a little bit longer at Rangers, he would have only got better and better. So he's one that certainly I would look at and think if you can get him back in the building, I think that would be a positive move.
A goal-scoring winger too, which has maybe been few and far between for Rangers, having wingers that are going to hit double figures, get 15, 20 goals.
And when I'm looking at Lon Shankland in the box and you've got Černy out wide, I mean, that for me is a really good combination. So listen, there'll be a lot of business done. Derek McInnes has now got the opportunity to bring in players that he wants to bring in as well, so he'll be working away with the recruitment team to see and identify players that suit his style of play, which is good. He's got basically a month to get his business done. It's whether he can get in his first choice players that he wants in the building. Time will tell, because there's a number of moving blocks that need to happen for certain transfers to come through.
Rangers have spent a bit of money so far this transfer window. They spent, was it £40 million last season? Would you expect there to still be a big outlay towards the end of the window? Does that depend on who goes out, whether there's a big fee for Nico Raskin?
It partly depends who goes out. I would suggest that there could be a big fee for Nico Raskin. They brought in $4.5 million for Oliver Antman through the week as well. I would imagine John Suter will be getting moved off the wage bill shortly. There were big earners like Tavernier and Butland left during the summer as well, Andrew. So there has been money coming in as well, but if they're going to keep pace with Celtic, who have just spent £17 million on two centre forwards, then they're going to have to spend, more money, because what they had last night is not going to win them a league.
Well, thank you to Thomas. Speaking of Celtic, let's speak to John, who's a Celtic fan in Coatbridge. John, what's on your mind?
Hi guys, hi Dazza, Roger and Cammy.
Hi John. How doing, John?
No, I've tried to go on this point now night a bit. Obviously, we've seen Casper Ho and the boy Duran, the two of them obviously come with good quality in that. But I just want to, do you think this is, if the Celtic board think this is going to appease the fans, they've got another thing coming. We need, and saying that, Roger, just talking about John Suter, right? I know that's maybe a bit controversial. I've always liked him. I would take him to Celtic, but he was a backup. I think he's a good player. I mean, I know he's a bit injury prone, but my point was really about the goalkeeper. I know the guy is at Vlahovic, Roger, for Fenerbahce. He's out of favour, but there's talk. Was it another guy, another Croatian goalkeeper? It was at Real Betis, mate. I think that was, they've been linked with one, and they were looking at a Real Betis goalkeeper. And also, I would also like Sarachi to come back into the building, because we need cover. Obviously, if Engels back go, we need cover for the midfielders. What I know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, the Sarachi deal doesn't look as if it's going to happen, does it? He's put out a statement himself.
It should have happened. It should have happened a month ago or 6 weeks ago, Andrew, because Celtic won't get a more reliable deputy for Kieran Tierney for that type of money than Marcelo Sarachi. I don't think there's a supporter at Celtic Park was disappointed with his contribution last season. That's a deal that could easily have been done, and I think they've missed the boat on that. Whether they now turn to Greg Taylor, whether Greg would come back, I don't know, but the Sarachi deal should have been done. When Engels goes, I assume Micah Bauer from Paderborn will be the new Arne Engels. The goalkeeping thing, John, fascinates me. Has Sinisalo done enough to be recognised as first choice? That's a decision Martin O'Neill's going to have to make between now and the transfer window closing. He says he wants a goalie in just to get the numbers back up. In terms of numbers, Kasper Schmeichel's never been replaced. It's only Sinisalo and Ross Doohan that are there. But does the guy who comes in, is he a backup to Sinisalo, or is he the man?
John Suter to Celtic?
No, I don't see it happen. Listen, I totally understand John's point of view. Excuse me. But you look at the squad that Celtic have got, there's also talk about Alistair Johnson.
Yeah.
Could potentially leave.
I think David Moyes has actually spoken to Martin O'Neill directly, essentially to say that there is interest from Everton in him.
Now, and by the way, I'm not surprised at that, because I think Alistair Johnston's a terrific player. So Celtic, as much as they brought in 2 strikers now, if you look at their business, and you've got to say, business-wise, it's been very, very good, because you can look at the numbers, 17 million, 2 strikers. They brought in 16 million from transfers going out.
Yeah.
You know, so basically their net spend is about £1 million. And everybody's well documented how much money Celtic have got. Look, I think Celtic have still got a lot of business to do in this transfer window. Of that, there's no doubt.
Are things looking more promising, John? Because on the show a few weeks ago, there were a lot of Celtic fans phoning in, really annoyed about the lack of transfer activity, the fact that £17 million has been spent on players that the supporters seem to like the early signs of. Does that give you belief that more money is going to be spent and Celtic will sort out the areas they need to sort out?
Well, as Darren just related to that, they've not really spent anything. I mean, so they've spent £1 million around about.
But it's still £17 million more than they'd spent 2 weeks ago.
I'm glad they've signed. I mean, that guy, his quality, this whole, and obviously Duran's, and I don't look into pre-season, it doesn't think, but the boy has scored 3 goals or something in 3 or 4 games. He looks a good player. But to me, apparently, Roger, the Sarachi deal, whoever he was going to, was it some team in the US, MLS, it's fell through.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know why they can't go back. But if their board think that's going to appease the fans, what they've done, they've got another thing coming, because you say Engels is probably going to move on, and Hattati. And much as I like Luke McCown, he's not, what do you call it, he's not, would you call it, going to light the hair on fire, sort of. No, I mean, he's a good player, but to me, they need to sign a midfielder. I know they're going to go for this boy Bor, who looks quite a good player. But to me,
so what will appease the supporters, John? Because, I mean, as you say, there's still a lot of business that Celtic need to do. But what does that business need to look like for the next month for Celtic fans to be happy with the business that's done in this window?
I reckon another at least 5 players have got to come in who can go straight into the first team or thereabouts. If Alistair Johnston goes, which I hope he doesn't, I don't know why we can't go for Arugo. I mean, I don't know if he's available. I don't know, maybe the wages are a stumbling block, maybe. But they need, if Alistair Johnston goes, much as I love Tony Ralston, he's not the answer. He's a good squad player and honest professional, but they need, if he goes, we need a right back, a couple for Tierney at left back, and if a couple of midfielders go, we need another 2 midfielders and a goalie. So to me, there's got to be 5 signings, as far as I'm concerned, who can go straight into the first team or thereabouts.
Thank you to John. 0141 951 1025. Maybe you want to add to John's thoughts about Celtic. Maybe you want to look back on that draw between Dundee United and Rangers last night. Maybe you are on your way back from a game today and you want to talk about your team's first league match of the season. There is a big game tonight between Aberdeen and Hearts. A couple of big Premiership matches tomorrow. So get your calls in now. 0141 951 1025.
A red light becomes a moment to breathe. A coffee run, a kick of momentum. A wrong turn turns into an adventure, while a song becomes your soundtrack. From the driver's seat of an LBX, even the most ordinary of days can feel that little bit extra. The award-winning Lexus LBX self-charging hybrid. Find the extraordinary in the everyday.
Because you want a pair for work and a pair for the weekend. Because you like to leave a pair in the car. Because you can't decide which pair you like best. Because when you buy a pair of prescription glasses or sunglasses, we'll give you another pair for half price. Because of all these things, there's only one choice. Boots Opticians. See what's possible. Includes prescription glasses and sunglasses. Cheapest pair half price. T's and C's apply.
You'll never forget seeing your kids on the slopes for the very first time.
I'm doing it! Look, I'm doing it!
Get that feeling and so much more with Crystal Ski Holidays. With free child places and Crystal Childcare available, make magical memories together this winter. Choose from over 150 resorts and get everything sorted in one easy package. Find out more at crystalski.co.uk. APTA and ATOL protected.
I'm Professor Noel Fitzpatrick, and as a vet, I know you want the best care for your animal companion. Pet insurance can help, but you need to choose wisely as not all policies are the same. Petplan aim to pay claims quickly and without a fuss, and that's one reason why so many vets work with them.
Get your pet the best veterinary care. Save 10% on new policies when you insure at petplan.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Fitzall Media is an appointed representative of Petplan Limited.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Still time to get your calls in on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Gordon Dalziel, Cammy Bell and Roger Hannah here with me, Andrew Maclean. There have been 2 of the 6 Premiership games completed this weekend. Last night was a 1-1 draw between Dundee United and Rangers, a 2-0 win for St Mirren. Today away at Falkirk, and in 5 minutes time Aberdeen against Hearts up at Pittodrie, and the weather looks absolutely horrendous up there.
Yeah, it's not the best, but I've got to say, as a player, I don't know what like Cammy was. I like playing in conditions, a little bit of rain, the surface was a bit wet, and anything comes off a goalkeeper.
Goalies don't like that.
No, exactly. As a striker, I love that.
I think what helps is the pitch, doesn't it? Because this time of year you can sometimes get really dry pitches and it's slow. So I think a little bit of rain on it will just help this game. Listen, Pittodrie
no hydration breaks.
No, Pittodrie looks absolutely packed and bouncing, so they're ready for this game certainly.
Yeah, big flag display at Pittodrie, the supporters, a few, I was going to say flares, it's sort of club arranged pyrotechnics rather than flares, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to make sure there's no one in the stand.
Big season for Aberdeen.
Yeah.
They fell away, they lost their identity a little bit for me. They've got Stephen Robinson in now that knows the leagues as well. That's important. He's had time now in the summer to bring in his own players, work with them. So they'll be home to get off to a good start, but this will be a difficult game.
This is a big game for Aberdeen. It's one you can lay down a marker. We just spoke about the stadium being full. It's a difficult one. We all know how Hearts went last season. Yes, they've had their Champions League games and it's been a disappointment for them, but if Aberdeen go and get 3 points here, what a start to the season for them.
It's also one that Hearts could set the tone as well, because as Roger mentioned earlier on, Sturm Graz are a good side. They were in the Champions League last season, weren't they? They were in the Europa League last season, but they're a team that regularly get to league phases of European competition. So it's tough to judge. But if Hearts go out and they win and a couple of new signings get goals, then all of a sudden things are looking a lot better.
But also you could flip that. If they don't win at Pittodrie today, there'll be more questions get asked.
And then one of the last teams that Hearts will want to face after losing at Pittodrie would be Benfica.
Yeah, listen, Sturm Graz, yes, they were a European sort of bigger club at one point. I don't think they're as big a club as they probably previously were. Yes, they're still a very, very good team, but I think the disruption in Hearts over the summer is shown already. So today's a big game for me, I think, for both clubs, because, as I say, Aberdeen can lay down a mark in front of their own fans, get a real positivity around the club again. But Hearts sort of need to knock that little bit of negativity that's crept in, which will creep in because they lost their captain, their manager, and a number of other players over the summer.
You wouldn't mess with Aberdeen's new goalkeeper, would you? You see him walking out there in what looks to be pretty much a full face mask for whatever injury he's got. He looks massive.
He is. He's a big lad. They'll be looking for big things. Interesting to see that, once again, another centre forward being the captain, Kevin Nisbet. Big season for him. I think if you give him the right ammunition, he finds the back of net for it. He could be a big player for Aberdeen. Responsibility as well of being the captain. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes tonight.
We'll keep you up to date if there are any goals in the opening half an hour or so of that game at Pittodrie. But let's go back to the phones. Nadeem is a Rangers fan in Livingston. What have you got for us this evening, Nadeem?
Hi, Andrew, Gordon and Cammy. I'm just phoning up regarding I'm a Rangers fan, so regarding the Rangers situation just now. I was listening to your show, and I know I heard Cammy, you were talking earlier on about a style of play. Do you know, I think one of the callers said that there wasn't a style of play, and Cammy had said that you don't need to have a style of play as long as you just win games. And as much as I understand what Cammy's saying there, you can't go. You won't win a league by not playing well, right? I know you can win the odd game here or there. If you don't play well, you still need to get results. I get that, but you can't go through a full season campaign and not play well and win the league. It's just not going to happen. So when you talk there, Cammy, about you've just got to get results, Absolutely. You need to get results. Of course, you've got to get 3 points. You've got to go far in cup tournaments. I get that. But the way to do that is by playing well. You don't need to have a style of play to play well. Look at other teams in the league I've done last season. You don't have to have a style of play where you have to go wide or you have to go through the middle.
But I don't think people would look at Hearts across the course of last season and say Hearts didn't play well or didn't play good football. Hearts were exciting to watch a lot of last season.
We're about to see them kick off this season, and they're kicking off with the Player of the Year, Claudio Braga up front. It was an exciting signing. Shankland was exciting enough that Rangers signed him. Devlin was exciting enough that Rangers signed him. Kizarides, brought over from Greece, end of the season, capped by Greece for the first time, so he did okay. So listen, Hearts contributed greatly to last season. They play a certain way, but it wasn't a certain way that was necessarily, sore on the eye, Andrew.
And as well, when you look at Rangers going forward, it was, and Derek McInnes won't want to use this as an excuse, but it was also Rangers' first competitive game of the new season. It was his first competitive game. There's a lot of new players in there. He says things will get better with time. They've got more players to come in, so it may have been a disappointing result. Rangers fans will just need to hope that things will improve on that, and that's just the start of things.
And they will get better in time. I totally agree with that. But again, and Derek McInnes knows this better than anybody else, that you don't get long, or again, the longer it takes you to click and win games of football, the more damage it does over the season. Because again, if you start slow at Rangers or at Celtic as an old firm that's chasing that title right from day one, it can affect you, it can damage you early on in the season. So that's why I'm saying at these early moments, I think what's important for Rangers is just to win games of football. Yes, in months to come they can find their style of play, they can play well, they will play well, of course they will, but I think early on, we've seen it in previous seasons, that Rangers find themselves chasing, and they don't want to find that this season. They don't want to be chasing Celtic down, going into an Old Firm game where the gap can become 7-8 points, and that's where it becomes really damaging for you. So just at this moment, I think everything's very new and fresh. For me, the most important thing is winning games of football.
A couple of the pundits that had predicted Rangers to win the league, Nadeem, I think jokingly saying that after last night they might want to change their mind. Is your opinion on how you thought Rangers' season would go, has it altered at all just based on watching last night's game?
No, I think it's really fickle to think about changing your opinion after one game. Andrew, I think you've got to give Derek McInnes time. I mean, I didn't want Derek McInnes, if I'm being honest with you guys. I didn't think he was I don't think he's exciting enough, and he's a good manager. He's probably an average manager in the league. He's done well last season, of course he did. But you need to bear in mind he's had a couple of clubs previously, and although he did okay with Aberdeen, he didn't win loads of cups, especially when Rangers we're not even in the division, So if you have average players and you have an average manager, you're going to get average results. So for me, you've got to give him time. The board have given him a bit of money, and he's signed players. So I just hope that we can pick up, because last night was horrific. First half was horrible. We picked up a bit in the second half, but I mean, it was horrible watching. I know Cammy talks about style of play, but we didn't play. First of all, he didn't play well at all last night. There was no grit and determination in terms of wanting the ball back and getting forward quick. It just wasn't great last night.
It's funny, and that's two Rangers, Carlos Thomas and Nadeem, talking about Derek McInnes not being exciting enough. Rangers don't need excitement. No. Rangers need realism. They need pragmatism, and they need a trophy. If Derek McInnes can win them a trophy with football, any type of football, Rangers fans should embrace that. Celtic have won 14 of the last 15 titles. They won a double last season. Rangers have had one League Cup under Philip Clement, one Scottish Cup under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, and one Championship under Steven Gerrard in the last however many years. So it's not excitement they need, it's a manager that will bring them silverware.
I think we get lost in a little bit. We don't give enough credit to. I thought Dundee United first half were excellent. Yes, you're expecting big things from Rangers. I was expecting something a little bit different. I think a lot of Rangers fans were the same. Look, it takes time. All clubs take time. We can't use an excuse, first competitive game. First competitive game for a lot of Dundee United players as well. I know the manager's been there a few years, but still for the players. I know what you're saying. It's very early to go in predictions and very hard. But if the transfer window closed now, And I'm just going on the evidence of what I watched last night. I don't think that Rangers squad right now would go and win the league, right? I think
But they've still got your Player of the Year, Vanja Dragicevic, to come in.
If he gets a game. And it might be with the under-21s. But I think that they need players that are going to create. I think they need wide men desperately. I really do.
Thank you to Nadeem. 0141 951 1025. A big win in the Premiership this afternoon for St Mirren. 2-0 away at Falkirk. Here is what manager Craig McLeish made of their victory.
Yeah, I'm delighted for the group. We got the result that our performance deserved. I thought we were excellent today. So many aspects of our game that I was really happy with. Like, we know it's a tough place to come. We know that Falkirk will have spells of possession. We had to defend at times, we had to dig in at times. Then I thought we showed real quality on the ball at times as well. We had our own spells of control. We counter-attacked very well, which was part of our game plan. When we were breaking, we were wanting to do it at speed and do it in numbers. Maybe could have got another goal on the break if our final action was a little bit better, but no, I'm delighted for just the individuals and the group, even the boys that come off the bench at the end, give us a lift and give us energy and give us real quality as well.
Not sure there's much more that Craig McLeish could have asked for today. A 2-0 win, clean sheet, away from home against a decent Falkirk side.
Sitting top of the league. It's theirs to lose now. I've got to
change your prediction to St Mirren.
I certainly, on the evidence today, I thought St Mirren were excellent. I thought from the first whistle there was a better energy about them. They got after Falkirk. They didn't let Falkirk settle on the ball. We all know that Falkirk like to play this passing game. St Mirren were excellent. They were excellent. Yes, you can say that maybe was it a little bit of luck that the Falkirk goal got ruled off for a handball. I thought it was a correct decision. And then as the game went on, Falkirk opened up a bit. They had to commit men forward. And St Mirren were always dangerous on the break as well. So he can be very, very happy with his day's work, and so can his team. That's an excellent start to the season.
6 minutes in between Aberdeen and Hearts at Pittodrie has been end to end a bit. I think Aberdeen have maybe had the better slightly of the territory so far, but no big chances. We'll keep you up to date if there are any goals in that one between now and 6 o'clock. Let's go back to the phones. Laurie is a Celtic fan up next. Laurie, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, Andrew, first and foremost, thank you for taking my call. Good evening to you, good evening panel.
Yeah, Laurie.
I was reading earlier today, Andrew, that Paddy Power, the Irish-based bookmakers, are already paying out on Celtic winning the title.
I mean, I think they kind of do that every year at some point, which a more cynical man would say that's a publicity stunt.
Well, they still have to pay out, so it's legitimate and it isn't a fabrication. So I'll move on from that.
You're talking about it on a big radio station, so it's certainly doing the job, Laurie.
Well, for sure, Andrew. And I wanted to enlarge on that because thus far Celtic have spent £17 million in two strikers. Each of them scored 5 goals in Champions League matches last season. I think Celtic are a snip. You look at our main competitors from last season, Hearts, who last won the title 66 years ago. If there is a surviving photograph of that Hearts title on the side in 1960, if they discover one, I'm pretty sure it'll be in sepia or black and white. The Rangers title success, they come around as often as Halley's Comet. The panel's thoughts.
I mean, with Celtic, because Celtic had a season that they were nowhere near as good as they have been in previous seasons and still came out on top, Gordon Dalziel. So you can see why Celtic fans would be confident if they managed to come out of this window with a stronger squad than they left last season, that they'll have a very good chance of winning the league again.
Well, I think the pundits, most of them have predicted Celtic. I think Celtic fans will be very confident because you're right. If there's any chance of knocking Celtic off their throne, it was certainly last year, and it didn't happen. Martin O'Neill come in, was absolutely brilliant, dragged them over the line, got to a double as well. Yeah, they're going to lose one or two. They have already lost Maeda, of course they have, but right in and replaced them, spent money, brought in good money as well. So business-wise, I think Celtic are doing very, very well. but they'll need to strengthen in other areas. If they lose Alistair Johnston, they'll need a right back in there. Of course they will. They need cover for Tierney. I'd like to, if I was a Celtic fan, I'd like to see them, the same as Rangers, bringing in a bit more quality in the wide areas for me.
Yeah, listen, I think Celtic's business that they've done so far looks really good. Certainly the strikers, we knew they needed players at the top end of the pitch. They also need wide players for me. We've mentioned a left-back replacement in case Kieran Tierney picks up any sort of injuries. So there's still a bit of business to do. It'll be interesting to see with Alistair Johnston one, how that plays out if he leaves the club, because if he leaves the club, that's a big loss for me. I know he was missing for a huge period of time last season, but I think you could see that, you could feel that's where Celtic were struggling in that area, because he's so effective for them getting forward. He's very good defensively. So listen, the Celtic fans will be confident, especially after last night, and see what happened to Rangers. They couldn't get the 3 points up at Tannadice, but listen, I think there's still a bit of business that Celtic need to get done to make their team click.
Well, thank you to Laurie. It's still goalless between Aberdeen and Hearts. 10 minutes on the clock. More of your calls to come.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard's open line.
Into the final part of today's Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard. Gordon Dalziel, Cammy Bell and Roger Hannah here with me, Andrew Maclean. So if you've got anything else you want to say before we finish up, get your calls in. Right now, 0141 951 1025. Lots of action across the first Saturday of league action in the Scottish Premiership and down the divisions today. Of course, a 1-1 draw between Dundee United and Rangers last night. Let's hear from Mark Wilson, shall we? Friend of the show after their win today against Morton.
Look, I thought we deserved the 3 points, certainly with the chances, and obviously hitting the woodwork 3 times. Thought first half, we were a wee bit slack, we're stuff. I thought the pitch is nice condition, but it's a wee bit dry, and maybe that slowed us down a wee bit. I thought we could have done things better. So it was a bit just speeding things up in the second half, maybe a few more runs in behind, and I thought the guys did that in the second half. And then obviously when we make the changes, Morton had a wee bit stretched at that point, so it plays into your hands, and I thought we got the goal that we deserved. And look, the way that we've managed the Premier Sports Cup, that's been the case as well, and we've kind of dovetailed them nicely, the front three especially. That was something I was wanting. I mean, last season we started a wee bit behind, but we had guys who had returned, who were injured in the wide areas and the forward areas, and we were a wee bit short. This year I didn't want that to happen, so of course guys who were going out the building for one reason or another, we replaced sort of like for like really quickly, but they were fit and ready to go, and we've kept them fit, and you see the benefit the first game of the season, because it's important that you get off to a good start, and we were 2 games into the season last year, we only had 1 point, so we've bettered that already.
Go back to the phones in a second. This is how you know Scottish football is back, when there's just a bit of madness that is ensued. Pennycook Athletic tweeting saying red card for Hoyk's Paul Tansey, who, as he's being substituted off, takes his shirt off and jumps into the stand to go for a supporter. We are back.
We are definitely back.
We are back. Right, let's speak to Michael, who is a Celtic fan that's been hanging on the line. Michael, what are you thinking?
Well, thanks for putting me through. Good evening, Parrell.
Hey, Michael. Hello.
I'm just as I was. I mean, the raging of Celtic, let Alistair Johnston go. Sure, when I'm getting off money there, they don't need to sell him. He's an integral part of the team. I mean, it was a big miss if he went. So, my point is, do you think they will sell? I'm going to be surprised.
I mean, it all just comes down to money, doesn't it? That is just the way that football works. If Alistair Johnston to go, it just depends what kind of bid comes in for him, and then that all comes down to, his age, how long he's got left in his contract, whether Celtic will be able to replace him.
Plus the fact you'll find that the player will probably want to try his hand at the highest level in the Premier League, going to a club like Everton. He'll triple his wages probably as well. So it would be like keeping... I don't think it would be a problem, but look, he's probably been made that promise. There might be something in the contract stating that if a Premiership club come in for him, that they wouldn't stand his way. That's what happens when you come to Scotland. Everybody looks to get down to that English Premier League, especially with the money that's floating around there. And if Celtic happen to get a massive profit on him, then it's business for everybody, and everybody would be happy. I totally agree with Michael. I think it will be very hard to replace. I think he's been brilliant. I know he had an injury, but he's been absolutely brilliant for Celtic. He's a very, very good player, and I think he would fit right into the Premiership, no problem at all.
Julian Araujo came in last season, did well, but even at that, Alistair Johnson would be very tough to replace long term, because you rarely see him have a bad game, do you? He's just extremely consistent, Alistair Johnson, both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, for me, going back and forward for Celtic, so effective, top player. And listen, that's what Celtic's all about. They've done it for years. They bring players in and they eventually move them on for big money. And listen, if the price is right, I think he will move on. As Daz said as well, whether there's been conversations had that if a team from the top flight down south comes in and that's where you want to be, then there's an agreement there. But I think the money would have to be right for Celtic to move him on. They're not under pressure with his contract running out or anything like that. But he's going to be difficult to replace, because I think he's so effective. I think we've seen that at points last season when he was unavailable and he was injured for periods of time, that they found it difficult to find a replacement for him. Yes, they bring in players, but he's one of Celtic's top players for me. I think you're right, and his consistency is excellent as well.
Seems to be a big, he is a big personality in the dressing room as well, Roger. A big influence in that Celtic changing room.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. He's a terrific right back. Celtic have done well. When you think back to Frimpong and you think back to Juranovic and players like that, Johnson's come in from Montreal, and he will have been told when he came into Scottish football, you do well here, this is a stepping stone, and you can go into, far greater riches in your career. That's his right. He'll triple his money, whether it's Everton, whether it's Fulham, wherever he goes. But you could tell, Martin O'Neill said it yesterday, watching Alistair Johnson in the World Cup finals and the way he performed for Canada, you'd be naive to think Celtic weren't going to get bids for the player, and you'd be naive to think that it wasn't the player's mind to go and take the next step in his career. The task then for Celtic, as they've done time and time again, is just to find the replacement, and Arroyo might be the ready-made one, Andrew.
Thank you to Michael. Let's speak to James, who's a Rangers fan in Drumchapel. James, how are you?
I'm good, guys. Yourself?
Good, thanks.
Just obviously on last night's performance, it wasn't the best, right? But I've seen better Rangers teams go to Tannadice and not come away with the 3 points.
I've heard a few folk obviously having a few gripes about the performance and stuff, but that's going to happen when you're trying to, when you're trying to breed new players into a squad. I don't think, the starting line-up that started last night is going to be the exact same starting line-up that's going to come at the end of play, at the end of the transfer market. I just think some Rangers fans need to get a wee kind of touch of realism at the moment, that we need to slowly but steady build on a team. We can't go down the signings of, after 7 games or whatever, sacking yet another manager. Denny McInnes is also still trying to find out what his best kind of starting 11 is going to be. But I just think that a wee bit of realism is going to be a big thing. Long Mr. Vice saying forwards with 44 days. Talking about his best team again, Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, Denny McInnes has said himself he needs more players in, but Rangers also need to, if you want to be a title winning side, you also need to win games while you are building and while you are getting better. One draw against Tannadice isn't going to cost you the title. It's just making sure that you don't get a habit into dropping points.
Yeah, 100%. I said it before. Listen, you're not going to be at your best at this time of the season. It's a new squad, it's a new team, there's a new manager in place, but it's so important when you're at a club like Rangers and you want to win the title that you still win games of football. It's not an easy place to go, and I totally get what James is saying. There has been better Rangers teams that have went up there and dropped points. I get that. But when you're starting afresh, you want to go up and get them 3 points. And it just builds, because, as I say, Rangers don't want to be going in an Old Firm game in a month's time and almost being behind Celtic. And if they lose that game, then, you're taking yourself out of the title so early on. So they just don't want to put us under that pressure, because negativity will fester in no matter what happens. They've got to start winning games. So just puts a little bit of pressure on Sunday, which will be difficult against Hibs at home. But they need to win it.
What we'll do is, I'll agree with James. I don't think that'll be the starting 11 probably again, because I thought he got it wrong last night. He went with Kasama and Nadiri up front. I was very surprised at that. It didn't work, and Derek recognised it very quickly at half time, because all credit to, I keep saying it, Dundee United. I thought they were excellent first half, and he made the changes and it worked. As I say, there was one or two positives. Asgard, I thought, was terrific. It could be a big season for him. I still think there's a lot of work to be done at Ibrox.
If you're looking for a bit of positivity for the Rangers callers, Andrew, Celtic lost twice at Tannadice in the league last season and won the title, so Rangers are a point ahead.
There you go. James, when it comes to transfer business, Derek McInnes was quite clear after the game. He said that the new signings that they're still to make need to land soon. What are the areas that those need to be in?
Creativity. We're needing wingers, trying out for wingers. For me, Gassama's just not even a football player. He flatters to deceive at times. You know, he'll run at somebody, look so dangerous, and then either fluff his lines, put the ball out the park. He doesn't seem as if he's got that confidence to actually go by a fullback. Let's say he'll run, stop and turn back. That's what I want to see. I want a winger that's actually going to go at defenders, take them on. You might lose it 9 times out of 10, but that 10th time could, you know, create a goal for a crossover or whatever. So that's what I want to see. I want to see and even somebody that's going to be like a kind of box-to-box midfielder, or it's going to, you know, maybe kind of...
We'll leave that there because we can't quite make James out. He's saying a box-to-box midfielder. Rangers seem quite stocked in that. Yeah. Certainly just in the midfield area. Would someone need to move out? Would you even expect them to sign another midfielder?
I'm not sure they will. I think they've got their business done in that area. As we said earlier on, wide players, centre half, left back.
What was surprising for me last night was, I know that you've got to get the width in the game, you've got to get quality balls in for your strikers. I didn't think the two Rangers fullbacks went high in the pitch. No. And I was very surprised at that. You know, I thought that obviously if they were going to try and get in behind Dundee United, fullbacks are so important.
Are you saying they're missing James Tavernier?
Listen, I thought Tavernier, I was one of the... And there's a lot of people that thought Tavernier was terrific for Rangers. I did. I think they will miss him, because Tavernier's numbers, quality, everything. And I'll tell you right now, if I was Shankland, I'd be thinking, I wish I had a Tavernier a couple of years ago.
The last 2 seasons, how many chances were created by Tavernier, Czerny and Moore over the last 2 seasons?
Yeah. And that's the quality I think that Rangers are crying out for. And if they get that in, I think then there'll be a big challenge to Celtic.
Well, I think that's all we've got time for when it comes to calls. Thank you to James. But of course, we are back tomorrow between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock. There are 2 big Premiership games. St Johnstone against Kilmarnock at 2 o'clock. Hibs against Motherwell at 4:30. 25 minutes, just shy of 25 minutes on the clock between Aberdeen and Hearts. And it's maybe looked more likely Aberdeen would open the scoring in this one. They did have a big opportunity going forward that Tiosi Olasanya got it all wrong, didn't he? I don't know whether the flag would have gone up or whether VAR would have checked it, but seemed to have a lot of space to play the ball through the middle and got it all wrong.
Yeah, it was a 2v1. It was a counter-attack. I think either Hearts had a corner or a free kick, and Aberdeen break up the pitch in a 2v1 in such a promising position. He gets it all wrong, doesn't play the pass, the goalkeeper reads it and cuts it out. I think the Hearts have started to grow into the game a little bit. They've got further up the pitch and created opportunities, but yeah, I would say Aberdeen have maybe just slightly edged it. Neither goalkeepers had a save to make that I certainly have seen yet. But it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Just before we finish up, Roger, how would you sum up what we've seen over last night and today, the first league action of the season?
Well, St Mirren top of the league. I think it's theirs to throw away now, Andrew. A terrific win for Craig McLeish at the end of a difficult week. Rangers have a lot of work to do. Derek McInnes knows it. The board will know it. The fans certainly know it if the phone in's anything to go by tonight. I would expect by the time we're on at 6 o'clock on Monday night, Derek McInnes will have some reinforcements in the building.
A busy show today, and it will be a busy show tomorrow. As I say, there are 2 Premiership games. We'll also build up to that Monday night game. It is flag night between Celtic and Dundee. Will be Celtic's first competitive action of the season. So tomorrow, maybe you want to preview that. Maybe you want to talk about the games that are taking place tomorrow. Maybe you want to reflect on today's action or last night's action. It is still goalless. 26 minutes on the clock between Aberdeen and Hearts. We'll give you all the reaction to that game tomorrow between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Hope you have a good rest of the Saturday night, and it's going to be the GBX up next.